Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The curtain has been pulled, and it's time for the final day of the NLC Division Two groups. I'm Volt. With me is Yoichi, and we have one more playoff spot left up for grabs, Yoichi, and the top four. It can go anyway today.
Absolutely. It can go anywhere. The last spot and also the last day for the NLC Division 2 is going to be something that is absolutely exciting, especially with the scenarios that could happen in front of us.
Yeah. Okay. So first scenario is the first game for the day, and that will be between Ruse and Garden Gaming. For Garden, it is an important game. They want to lock top four, so we might as well head to the draft.
Okay, so the draft is just completely normal from what I'm seeing. Like so far, it's just Talia ban, Brand ban. I hope I see some Tristanas and Corky's bans because I actually don't want to see those champions. But we're actually playing on 14.15, which means that those champions that can abuse Kraken Slayer, Tristana, are not as strong as you would hope they can be.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully for Tristana, it is 14-14, so all of the new build shenanigans and all the item changes, especially the ones that are targeted towards Kraken, is going to be like a little bit delayed, but not that much delayed. Of course, like with that in the way, you can tell like the high priority picks are there. You just banned Draven because one of the things that MKL is very good on, and since there is no priority on a Tristana nowadays, the Corki is still the safe choice. It's the easiest thing for a B1. But on the other side, well, doesn't leave that many options, at least for the ADC pool, because that's what I'm looking at. I see the Kai'Sa ban, I see the Draven ban, I see some focus on the AP junglers, that's like the Talia and the Brand. And we have a very distinct way that this can go. Of course, Tristana is inevitable, so she'll show up. But I'm kind of intrigued about which of those two teams will actually decide to go for the Zyra and which of these two will just say, hey, I can go Ivern, I can even go an AD jungler, and maybe play an AP top. Like, that's definitely still an option.
That's something that can be an option, but then Italy is something that Ruse is going to be taking, which could be the answer for,
Mm-hmm.
or answered by Lilia, or even if you decide to go for something such as Zyra, you can do that as well. But the main issue is that Corki is not a champion that can be able to pilot against Tristana unless if the Tristana player is not like very comfortable on the Tristana pick in the first place. But usually Tristana would be able to get the prior against the Corki, so that would mean that Nidalee would have a lot more flexibility into like going for invades or even full clear, even though her
Mm-hmm.
full clear is not as efficient as Lilia. But they decide to go Lilia, even though they know that Corki is not something that can get prior against Tristana unless if the
Mm-hmm.
Corki player is really good. But still, that is a risky pick.
Yeah, it is kind of risky. Of course, the Corki's kind of the blanket pick and mid. Same can be said for the Tristana, but the real issue here now arises in the top lane more than anything. And I think that's why we're seeing the Cassante super early on, because the iconic combination with that Nidalee has usually been the Renekton. It's not banned in the first phase. And I feel like if you're on the side of Ruse, you might as well just give it to Hippo right now, because if you don't, it's definitely going to be banned. I know that there are still some priority picks, especially towards the bot lane, where might want to guarantee that first. But it depends on the way that you want to play, because Panda, he's definitely been the carry, and the Vayne enables
Oh.
options on either end in that pick.
Okay, honestly, I'm in love with the Vayne pick, and it's one of the best picks that you could pick against Cassante, especially because Cassante cannot pilot or do anything against the Vayne in the first place. But still, that could be an issue because it's still a short range champion. But you're playing against Lilia, and you're also playing against the Corki, which are two champions that, sure, okay, Lilia can just walk around with 600 movement speed and no one can catch her, but still, she is a short range champion, so Vayne could be utilizing herself against that. And at the same time, I don't think there are many choices for ADC role, except if you want to go for something like Ezreal, but then you would have those three ADC champions, and you must get an engaged champion on Ruse's side. So Leona could be the choice, but Leona is going to get banned, so the other choice could also be Rel if they decide to go for the Rel at this point.
Yeah, the Rel is an option, and all of this is still an option as well. So I feel like for support, you never really worry about the depth of the engaged champion pool. It's just about which one of these are going to be the ones that are banned and which one are going to be the ones that are available. It looks like Rakan is the one that's going to be outed, and that definitely leaves the ground for the Rel, which I feel like if I'm playing against an engaged support, Rel is definitely one of my preferred options because he can kite her away. Her engages are more telegraphed, and easier to play around if you have the proper counterplay in comparison to something like a Kron, like a Nautilus that are much more agile and even have a lot more possibilities. And that's why we're seeing most of them banned. And with that Nautilus, well, they're 3 out of the 4. And that's the full pivot right there. Instead of going for the engage, you give yourself some opportunity with the Glacial Fissure, but you also got a lot of protection against the rockets, against the engage, even against the Ezreal that we were talking about with that shield.
I mean, the main issue with this pick is this is not something that can be able to lock down the Lilia. Like
Yeah.
what's Guardian just or Guardian Gaming just ended up doing is just banning the Nautilus, which can lock down the Lilia. At the same time, they banned Leona, which is something that can be also taken as a first pick for teams. But they decided to take the Braum. So now they're going to answer with Lucian and Nami, and you have absolutely no prio in bot lane because of that. Because double range against melee support is like the most typical kind of thing for bot lane. You cannot have prio against those kind of champions. But the issue here as well is that engaged supports are some of the strongest picks right now in the meta, and
Mhm.
that's for a reason. It's because the support can move mid lane a lot, can move with the jungle, can
Ooh.
is able to look for engages. But now Guardian has an issue. They don't have an engage tool on the other side. They also don't have an engage tool other than Brahm's ulti.
Yeah, but this is the feast or faminist comp I've ever seen. Well, all split, I would even dare say all year. You got 380 carries to Braum and Lily. If you don't win in the first 5 minutes, this game is pretty much over. And I feel like this is pretty much Ruse's best chance because, well, we've seen him throughout the split. They've had some bright moments, but most of them has been kind of dim. I feel like Panda has definitely been the player to that count for. Anibot has been stable, but he hasn't really been anything to cry home about either. So that leaves the team in this kind of weird spot right now where I don't even know if they're trying to compete. Maybe they're just trying to have a bit of fun because they're definitely locked in for last place. But they still got the regional promotion. That's something that they can look forward to. But yeah, this comp is like just win lane, win game. You lose game, or sorry, you lose lane, or you make one mistake in the game, and it's all over from there. One mistake and the game entirely collapses.
I mean, honestly, you can just pick any ADC on any role, maybe even support, and just have fun because ADCs are just
Send us
that
there,
broken.
yeah.
Send
Send
us
us
there,
there.
but yeah, okay. The issue is now that the support role is very versatile. Like, wow, you can choose between Leona, Rel, and maybe Alistar, and Leona and
And
Rel. So just
Nautilus, yeah.
and Nautilus. So like, I understand why they went for the Braum, even though it's not good against
Hmm.
enchanters and such things, because the meta so now is shifted towards the engaged supports that
Hmm.
the enemy team has to play engaged supports. But now the issue rises with Nami is that Nami always has to be with Lucian, unlike Braum. Braum can move with
Yeah.
Nidalee, she can move with mid lane and such things, and there's also no pressure on the Kog'Maw because there isn't an engaged tool that can reach the Kog'Maw in the first place. So once you have your passive stacks as Braum on anyone, those three ADCs along with Nidalee is going to be able to proc that very quickly.
I mean, we say that, but we've seen sometimes where the Brahms can just miss auto attacking or miss that vital cue to start that chain for the Sun. Of course, the chain is there with a lot of range champions, as you said, that can lock down a target pretty quick, but you need to burst them down instantly, which does actually make the Cassandra a real significant threat if it's able to survive through the first 6 levels of the game. Because if that happens, and the game is in such a dire spot, but well, I'm just talking about it. So how about we actually go to the Rift and see it for ourselves?
On to the Rift. Here we go. 310 coming from Ruse Esports, and Guardian is going to go for the 7-6 with their team comp right now. It's a bit skeptical that you decide to go for the Nami pick, even though it's good against a Braum, but still it's not the suitable meta for these kind of champions. So the main question is going to be risen upon them is how are they going to be able to navigate the map and face check with Lilia and Nami into the Nidalee and Braum? That is something
30
that we
seconds
are
until
going to have to
minions
see,
spawn.
especially on this game. But right now, as we see, three champions are stacking up on top lane because they know that there could be a potential late invade coming from the Braum on bot side and
Mm-hmm.
splitting the map just to make sure that Nami and Lucian do not have any comfort playing against the Kog'Maw and Braum.
Yeah, because comfort is going to definitely be a big factor here. And, we spoke a bit about how the airmen basically have to stick to MKL all throughout the lane and even later on.
Minions
But
have
in the same
spawned.
vein, And I know it's funny because there's a Vayne in the game, but like bear with me here for a moment. Like the fact that you have the pressure of the Lucian Nami against what are all actually very short range AD carries in the first 10 to 12 levels in the game can make this Lucian unbearable to play against. The flash tilting lullaby from Loki, that is definitely now a real play. So I see a lot of options for Guardian Gaming they can go for, but yeah, still for the same time, it just relies on them having some stability on both the side lanes because I think mid isn't really gonna be that big of an issue. Sure, like Tristana's gonna win, but it's
Going
not gonna
on?
be the kind of lead that will actually take control and more of the entire map in comparison to the other one. But as I say that, map indeed have been more of the Illusion Nami. Just decide to forego their weaker laning phase. Hippa is just
Hypa?
walking in, and I have no clue what the hell is happening because he was able to flash through the ward and make it out alive.
All right, good job, James Bond. Use your Ghost Flash just to try and escape that, but no. Lily and Kasate are still in top lane to make sure that you are not able to play this game anymore. The lane swap meta is actually coming in the second division of the NLC. I did not expect this, but this is actually a really smart idea because now Cassandra does not have to play against the Vayne, and at the same time, Vayne is really far behind compared to the Cassandra. Like, sure, okay, Cassandra is sharing some XP, sharing some CS, but still, that is not beneficial for a Vayne player, especially when she needs those items in order to play against the Cassandra. Because once Cassandra gets the plated steel caps, the game is going to be really hard for Vayne.
Yeah, even at that one item breakpoint that they were talking about, I feel like the Lucian Nami is much more potent in comparison to that Kog'Maw as well. So you got a lot of champions that really benefit from getting that one item. So even if you're going to be at somewhat of a deficit since you're lane swapping into top lane, which has the early 5-minute fortification in comparison to bot, which is actually going to allow Xnom and Zai to maybe get a little bit of a gold lead already with their plates. But other than that, I feel like this is pretty much the perfect start if you're on the side of Guardian Gaming. Get your Lucian and Nami outside of their weak early start, get them through the gold, get them through the push, and sure, Ruse is going to be able to find the lead on plates. But since you've pretty much forgone that early laning phase and now you're going to recall into the actual lane, I feel like it's going to be much easier for the Lucian Nami from here on out.
I don't think it's more of a Lucian Nami thing, but it's more of like Cassante just playing against the Vayne. He does not want to play against that matchup, but Lucian Nami are completely comfortable playing against their Braum and Kog'Maw. But one thing that is for sure, that is Kog'Maw has a better lead in terms of plates and golds over the bot lane of Guardian Gaming because of what happened. Like, and because of that, they can get a better item lead, just as we're seeing right now, because the recoil throw is coming from Kog'Maw in comparison to the long sword and the little ability haste item that is completely useless that is coming in from the Lucian. So
Hey,
whenever they well, it's ability haste, so it's something.
it's a mode that glow, man. It's something that glow. It's shiny, so it must
I
be.
hate that item. I do not like. I feel like a broke man whenever I have to buy that item. So I completely hate it. But still, it's something that is beneficial more for Yuzo over Hypa. But still, the bot lane of Ruse is able to play it against the Lucian Nami now, especially because they have their recoil roll. So whenever a Q is hitting from Braum, they can completely run down the enemy bot lane.
Yeah, that can be the case. Or you can see Lucian just saying, hey, I'm better on in the early lane. I'm good for the trades, and since Xnom does not have his W up, it doesn't really have the range to contest the Lucian in these short range exchanges. So you got to play around that timing, and I feel like that's the pivotal point for that bot lane sequence, which is happening right now. But other than that, like, mid lane has been pretty much what we expected out of mid lane. It's just a farm fest. Nobody's doing anything really. Even the priority isn't leading to much. It's actually the Lucian Nami that were able to get their prio onto the bot side, and that means that Loki can easily contest that first cloud. And well, that's out of the way, so we're actually gonna have a real soul in this game.
A real soul in the game. I'm really happy that we don't have to see the clown soul coming in either of the teams. But so far, Hypa is having a hard time playing against this Cassante, even though he's getting the counter pick because all the lane swapping that was happening made this game much harder. But now we see a fight on Panda and Loki.
Yeah, MKL is looking for the angle. XM is pretty low, but good flash from him outside of the wall. Good dodge in the bubble, and First Blood is going to go for that Kog'Maw. Will it be the final auto? All the way missing, and the auto even does not go through. XM and Squy, they're both also low, but the bowling ball does not hit. They're trying to tank it, and it will be the double man swing. Loki's gonna go down, however, and it's all going for the side of Bruce. 3 kills to 2, and with that TP, the Corki's in all the harm's way, and Squidly, my Squiddle, my Squirm, but he will definitely go down unless he's able to find a great escape. He dodges the spear, he's looking for the angle, he has some time to buy, but Panda heals in the nick of time, and Anibot does have the flash, and I'm assuming the leap is coming off the cooldown, but Squidly is able to flash just before the spear hits.
And at the end of the day, it was a 3-4-2. Even though Loki was able to get a double kill on the bot lane, it was a bit of a hiccup coming from Ermin on this Nami, but still, that is something that is really good for Ruse, especially because the sums that is coming from Ermin is no longer existent, and at the same time, Squidly is not going to have that flash. But there's no setup, so not big danger on both of these players, unless if a Q Brom hits, and Ermin is going to be very chunked on the bot lane, which means that if Nidalee decides that she doesn't want to go for these grubs, she can go for the bot lane dive, but instead Panda just decides to opt into the grubs on top side, especially with how much Anibot is putting pressure on Corki.
Wide X-Mom now in a very good place. That Braum Q that we're talking about, it misses this time, but yeah, it's starting to be much more difficult with the Greaves in comparison to just the Warhammer on the side of MKL, but they're still gonna survive unless they actually are able to land one more Q in the bot lane of Ruse. It should be an easy time for Guardian Gaming. Nami can heal you up. You just stay for a little bit more. You make sure that Lilia is actually able to come in, and Loki can score the next wave, or maybe not the next wave, but the wave after, by the time he makes it to the bot side, and then they can recall. So they have that as an option, but until then, they need to sit safe, because as he said, the only summoner is there is the flash on MKL, who's now relatively more healthy, but they still gotta be careful on the next wave.
More healthy, that's for sure, but still, the door that is coming in from Braum is going to be something that it can absorb a lot of the damage that could come from the Nami or even come from Lucian. So that's why Xenom is just having a lot of fun walking up and just spinning on these minions and just making sure that he can dash out as much damage while pushing out, because at the same time, Panda is going to be on the bot side using that cryo that his bot lane created to try and look for something on the red. But the smite goes in from Loki, and that means that the red buff is going for the Loki, and the invade is not going to go for the favor of Panda.
Well, the invade will not, but maybe the dive is an option. The recall coming in from Ermin, and that's going to be interrupted there by the spear. They got one more wave to score, but they let that one wander a bit too far astray, so maybe a second chance here. And Guardian Gaming, no TP on Ozil, no TP on Squidly, who isn't even having the best of times against the Persona. We expected that much, but hopefully the Corki will eventually scale. And for the time being, Loki's just there, making sure that they will not be diveable. And with the Nidalee showing on mid lane, now they know the danger is over. They can recall on the next wave, and it's no harm, no foul for them.
No harm, no foul. But the foul and the harm is all upon the Vayne on top lane, because the solo kill is going to be on the K'Sante. The K'Sante with the plated steel cap is going to be able to one-shot the Vayne, and at the same time, the bot lane of Fruze is going to try and look for the Bush of Death, but Panda is on the top side. Panda is going to make sure that Yuzol cannot escape anywhere, because he does not have the flash, he does not have the all-out, he only has his W and E. The E is going to make him create a lot of space between him and Panda, but that's never going to be enough to get to escape from the grasp of the Nidalee.
Yeah, the auto attacks there with the red buff slow were more than enough for Nidalee to eventually catch up to that K'Sante. However, you know, a bit of a good dance here from Ozil. Like, K'Sante is definitely okay. Like, let's not talk about that.
Let's
talk about
okay.
the game.
He's not okay.
Yeah, let's talk about the game, because the game is actually in an okay spot for both sides. Sure, the Vayne isn't really having the best of times against Ozil now, especially with him getting that chain vest on top of the steel caps. But then you look at the opposite side, you know, like you look away from the top, and I feel like Ruse is in a good spot. Anibos needs to survive here, because him dying makes the game much more difficult. Thankfully for him, he has the jump call, the rocket. He's able to walk out of harm's way. And yeah, you know, like, bot lane is doing good. Anibot is pretty much stable. 10 CS ahead for him, and hopefully he will be able to contest 1 or 2 plays by the time that the game is, the plays are down. And other than that, yeah, I feel like Ruse is establishing themselves in a good position. But I'm just looking at the way that the fights will be fought from now on, especially now that Loki has the ultimate. also has the all out. You're looking at the Lucian that's starting to curve into that Essence Reaver. And I'm starting to think, okay, this is gonna be unholy difficult on Ruse to play these fights and execute them.
Yes, yes, those fights are going to be difficult unless if they're able to apply to the Braum stacks, the Braum passive. But MPL is trying to look for any bot who is not able to succeed. But now the engage is going to start, especially with the Sleeping Lullaby.
Yeah, the Lullaby is actually cleansed out of Exnom. He's able to flash all the way across MKL. Dodges the Nidali, but unluckily for him, Panda, he walks in a bit too far deep. That's the first kill in. Loki with a great Q. The door is in, but Loki will shut it in their face. And that is kills back and forth, but Garden at the end are going to get the Dragon.
The Garden are able to get the Dragon, and they're able to get 2 kills over Ruse, which is really weird from the positioning that was happening from them. But especially Garden Gaming are showing us that they have the better expertise when it comes to those team fights. They know the targets that they wanted to focus on. They knew who to focus, especially when Xenom was in a really weird spot, especially when Panda was in a really weird spot. But they were able to exploit that, and they were able to get with the 2 kills and also the second Drake on top.
Second Drake. Spear from Panda forces the flash out of Loki, but I think that they're pretty far away from anything that is going to be a real risk on their side right now. So Garden Gaming, you got to be careful. While yes, they've won the fight, most of them haven't recalled just yet, and they're trying to do so. But at the same time, Ruse is looking for stranglers. They might catch the Lucian or the Corki here, and well, they're there. Ermin as well is trying to hold the angle, and we were talking about that Braum and the stacks being applied. They're trying to keep it up. Squidly is on 2 out of 4, but Exlom is too far away to make anything materialize. And Italy's still there in the boss side. And yeah, a relentless aggression from Ruse, but I feel like they need to make something happen now. Otherwise, their window will pass. And looks like something might have happened. Because the spear lands. Squidly's pretty low, but he can get the extra move speed. Hopefully, dodge the spear. He will not, but it will not be enough damage either.
There'll be not enough damage, but that showcases the Panda has a lot of damage, especially with those spears that he is able to land. But at the same time, Garden are going to be able to take the grubs on the top side, which is very beneficial for them, especially if they try to want and go for sieges with the Corki and the Lucian. But still, that it can be a fair exchange, especially with the plates that is going into the pockets of Xenom. So once he gets the bow check on Kog'Maw, that game can be much easier for Ruse, but at the same time, the Essence Reaver is going to be finished from the side of MPL. So that is going to be something that we have to look out for, especially when we're talking about the E combo with the E dash from Lucian, Nami, and such things. The most typical combo that is going to be able to make a lot of dents into the shields of Ruse. So that Imperial Mandate, along with the Essence Reaver, is going to make the game much harder for Ruse.
Yeah, game will definitely be hard now, especially it's not even just the Lucian, it's also the Lilia that has found herself a Revitalize in addition to that Dark Seal that is kind of stacking. Hippa here could be in danger of the Lullaby. Remember, no cleanse, so it should be all over from here. There's just moments to the stack of doom, and low-key gonna be able to find that one as well. And while the place will go down, so they will not get all 5 at the top side, they're gonna trade that 1 tower for 1. Sure, the gold is gonna even out, and maybe even it's gonna be a little bit of a lead for Garden Gaming, but that does not account for the 2 dragons they've gotten throughout the first 15 minutes. That means, well, 10 more minutes or so, and we actually might have a soul for Garden Gaming, depending on how the way the game is playing now.
The good news are, Vayne and Kog'Maw have finished the ball trick, which means that this is their power spike. We're talking about 2 ADC champions that are very reliant on these items. You can probably say that it's really full items, but both of range champions have the ball trick. But at the same time, the bad news are that the person that you do not want to have all these kills is the one who has all these kills. Loki on Lilia is going to have 4 kills along with the Leandries, and they have absolutely no lockdown on the roster of Ruse. So that's gonna make their life hell, especially because they don't have any lockdown at all. They only have a Braum, they don't have an Italy, maybe they can land a spear, or maybe they can land a kill on Squid.
Yeah, who needs lockdown and you can just guarantee the kill with excessive amount of damage, is what Rizzi are saying to that kill in the bot lane. Squidly got gnomed, caught off guard. Thankfully for the side of Garden Gaming, it's not the biggest of losses, and sure, they get that kill, but for Ruse, not any objectives to play around. The bot turret is already down, so they would have much rather actually killing also there and getting the tower on top of it, but it is what it is for them. It's still a silver lining at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, Corki, Squidly, was able to get caught in bot lane, but at the same time, they're getting a lot of resources into the top side because they know Exinum has that boss fight. So anytime he wants to try and look for a fight, along with that Braum, along with that Cogmount damage that he has, that can be beneficial for them. But now, Guardian are able to walk into the bot side of the map because they know that they have a prior in mid lane because they want to contest this blue and you make sure to use the advantage that they created on the Lilia to steal any of the camps that Ruse might have, just to make sure that they can choke them out of their resources and choke them out of their XP and gold and make Panda even further behind. Because now currently Lilia is level 11 compared to Nidalee's level 9, and she's 50 CS ahead as a jungle matchup, which is not something to be tolerated at all. But that shows that Guardian Gaming are really comfortable on the Lilia.
Yeah, especially considering the good start that Panda had early. It was not looking like that, but now it's looking like Soul Point might be a very realistic proposition if you're on the side of the Guardian Gaming, and they actually might even have the damage. The Lord is there, the Fisher as well, but luckily for them, they got the Lullaby, no cleanse, excellent on point on Pew, but you still gotta leave that Braum for dead.
I love how Guardian Gaming are playing because every time they see that Loki is gathering with them for a numbers advantage, they always use that to force anything, to look for an engage, to look for a trade, because they know that Lilia has a lot of damage. But now Vayne is in a really bad spot. She has to use the flash, and Ghost, because of the damage that is coming from Guardian Gaming, is something that is not to be messed with at all. And she figured that out, so she had to use the flash and Ghost. But now, a jump coming from Annie.
Yeah, and Uzo is there as well. Even if Zway actually joins the fight back, not very confident about the chances of Ruse, and they're taking that one. Loki's taking a considerable amount of damage. Good dodge, however. Her name may not be Sarah, but she's strutting on that field. And for the side of the Guardian Gaming, now starts the dance. Of course, we talked about the range advantage that Ruse does have in comparison to the burst of the Lucian Nami, with their sequences and the way that they're trading this one, but they are starting that Kentech, and Hippa's already all the way down. Squidly, one rocket is not enough, and Ozo is actually brought all the way down low. Very low health bars on the side of Guardian Gaming, and they might have to concede. It looks like that they are conceding, especially with that spear. No chance for them to contest. And Ruse, they get one dragon, almost got a kill on top of it with that spear from Panda, but they will guarantee that dragon TP to the top side, and they're still in this game, still some life in them.
And that's the issue with their team comp, because it's so reliant on Lilia having the flash and sleeping Lullaby to make sure that she can catch as many people with that ulti as possible. But still, Panda is trying to look for an invade potential on the Raptures, but yet again, Loki is able to secure those camps. But at the same time, Ruse is going to be able to get the mid lane turret, but the TP that was coming from Anibal on the top lane is going to also be matched by Squidly to make sure that that turret in top lane has not fallen. But all the vision now is coming from Ruse on the bot side of the map. That means that they want to strong side the main, which it could be something that's a bit sussy. It's not the smartest idea because Tristana is really ahead in terms of CS over the Corki. Does not have the Triforce just yet compared to the Tristana who has the Kraken Slayer, and she almost has an avoid. Coming from MKL.
Devastating combo right there. Excellent might be called for death, but the Lilia is the one that's gonna be brought down. 800 gold for Panda. No mana, however, and no teammates as well, since both of them are critically low. So thankfully, Panda does not overcommit there, and that's a massive shutdown to Nidalee.
That is a massive shutdown for the Nidalee, but it's still that does not make you even in terms of XP or even in terms of levels. But for sure, that is something that can make the life of Nidalee much easier for her, especially when they are trying to collapse now on Anibal. Because Kale and Armin are going to be on top lane.
Yeah, Hannibal, we said that he's ahead, but his call sign for so far in this game, 19.5 minutes, and it's just thou shall not kill. No kills, no deaths, no assists. It's pretty much being a pacifist there, and Hippa feels bad as the Intofo stealing that red buff, but for the side of Ruse, really. I'm looking at the way that this is going to be played. I don't think that they can actually start a Baron, just because of the fact that they don't have a real front line. If anyone in their team tries to start the Baron, it's going to be a lot of damage on their much squishier team comp in comparison to Guardian Gaming. But the power of that squishy team comp is that you can instantly sum someone like this and burst them down 100 to 0, and then you're playing a fight.
And that's the issue with playing with this team comp. You have the Nami who has to stay with the Lucian all the time, but in comparison, Braum does not have to do that same thing. He can move with the Nidalee. He can look for these invades. He can always look for Lilia if she's in any way off position. And they did catch her on the blue buff, and they are able to get ahead into the gold. but now MKL is going to be using his dash to get away from the Q of the Braum, but at the same time, Corki is going to be able to secure the turret on the top lane. So far, Ruse is not going to be falling down that easily. Ruse Esports are making sure that the game is trying to be as even as possible, or even ahead at this point. But now the pigs are going to be on the Baron, and maybe we see a 20-minute Baron.
You will see that it looks like Guardian Gaming, they're none the wiser. Maybe the Cork is going to be the first one in, but both the Lilia and the Cassandre are in the boss side to meet Annie bot, but the health bars are low. Remember, they are very squishy on the triplet of carries. They get the Baron, but will they survive? Hippa goes vein spotting, and he's able to win that one-on-one versus the Cork. The Lucian is not faring that well either. Surely will have to fall back, and they all will. But now Loki's finally in his face. Two-man Lullaby cleanse early, and that means the Lullaby connects anyway. Loki goes down, but MKL goes massive, finds the double, even looking for more of that triple. Of Panda able to find their way away. They lose the Baron, but they win the team fight.
That is such a beautiful Baron call that is coming in, but Panda is trying to engage. He's trying to look for the kill of MKL, but sadly, he got way too greedy because the flash was present in terms of Lucian. But still, that was a beautiful Baron call. But the main issue was they overcommitted too much. They knew that they had the numbers advantage, but Loki was there right on time just to make sure that that numbers advantage no longer exists. And because of that, they were able to secure only one person on this in terms of the team. Ruse Esports, which is Anibot, he's the only one who has the Baron buff. So that is not a lose situation for Guardian Gaming, but that is still something that Ruse can play with, especially since Anibot is going to be the main character in terms of siege.
Yeah, definitely gonna be the main one in terms of sieging, but he's primarily been the main split pusher all game long. And that has been the problem for Guardian Gaming. They can't really match the Tristana one-on-one, especially with the Trist getting both the Flicker Blade and the Kraken Slayer now, even probably going on for the LDR next. You know, that's a pretty fed Tristana, despite not doing that much. But speaking of being fed, MKL is in a very good spot in terms of damage. Same can be said for the Lilia. They're spacing down Swy, but they've basically eaten everything. And now's the time for the 80 carries to come to play. Anibot on the TP. Will we finally see him participating in the game in terms of kills? We will. First kill in for Anibot. More jumps to come in, but he's going to be conservative, waiting because they know that also still in play. All the 80 carries are there, but Guardian Gaming, they've started the Dragon and the dance is on.
The dance is on definitely for both of these teams on the river. They know that Hypa is not able to fight for this because he's very low HP and does not have any sums, but still the Drake is going to be important in terms of Guardian Gaming. But the Q land is on MKL, and we're going to see a fight now.
Yeah, fight now. Fisher catches two. Will they do the damage to also? He all out abducts Anibot. Is looking for the damage, but low-key in the meanwhile will eliminate the other tank that is the Braum on the support position. Also is running away. All the commitment is coming on the Cassandre, leaving the Kelgmaw all alone to find the double for the Lilia. She makes their dreams nightmares on the side of Bruce.
You cannot abandon the Kog'Maw just like that. Like, okay, you try to chase for the Cassandre who has movement speed. He's tanky, he's fast, he has four dashes, he has an unstoppable force. He has every single tool to be able to escape that like no other champion can. But at the same time, you cannot just abandon your ADC just like that. You need someone to escort him out of it, and Guardian Gaming are able to capitalize on that very easily, even though they lost the Drake. But still, Squidly is going to be able to take the bot lane turn, and Loki might try to be able to get Hypa's life, which is not going to be possible because Hypa is just going to be using his Q and E, and he created some space for himself just to escape from the clutches of the
Yeah, you know what's the funniest thing in all the game that I've actually thought of right now? Sure, like Lilia is super ahead in the game, but I feel like the way that you need to play Lilia in this game, Loki has basically think as if he's a rel every 5 minutes. because you know, if you walk into auto attack range of the Kog'Maw, Tristana, and Vayne with the Braum as well, you are dead meat. So you gotta wait your 5 minutes, wait for your flash lilting lullaby, and you just go for that big engage, and the game can pretty much be over just for these two buttons.
It's not an easy task, that's for sure, for either teams because they don't have any engaged tools, which means that they have to be a lot more patient with how they are fighting those team fights, how they navigate those team fights, how they can focus on the Braum or focus on the Cassante and just try to play the front back as much as possible, and maybe low-key can look for something like a flash with Sleeping Lullaby. That's an angle that they can look for. But team fights are going to be definitely very difficult for both teams because they don't have any engaged tools, which shows just how precious that support engage is on the current meta. Whether you have a Leona with Hex Flash, whether you have a Rel with Hex Flash, those champions are always going to be really strong. But the all-out
Ew!
Cassante with a lot of damage despite Vayne having a bot trick in Kraken Slayer, a 1-for-1. But we saw just how disgusting that champion is.
Cue the Showmaker rant video because that's all I'm gonna do. You know, like 200 health, he doesn't care. Oh, that's one shot in vain. Oh, that's so disgusting. But hey, you know what? It's fine because the Cassante can do things like that. And remember, Rose is the team that decided to pick 380 carries in Italy. And you know, we're speaking of how they don't have engage in the side of Garden Gaming. No engage either outside of that Braum. So both of these teams are very conditional in the way that they're gonna approach the team fights. And to your point, I feel like if you're gonna play the Nami, I really expected a Sejuani out of Garden Gaming if that was your plan from the start. And you know, I understand it's a pivot halfway through the draft because you did actually indeed pick the Corki first, pick the Cassante first, and then you thought about the Lucian Nami later on once you saw the Kog'Maw and the Tristana. But yeah, maybe it's not the most coherent draft in either of these two teams, but they've definitely made it entertaining at the very least.
If it's working and it's good comfort for them, then why not go for it? You don't have to go for the meta all the time. Like, you can see the Vayne top lane. Who plays Vayne top lane other than Zeus? I mean, sure, it's not Zeus on top lane, but still, it's something that makes it more tasteful, you know, like not having to see the Ornn on top lane against a Cassante or something that is, for example, Koke and Tristana. But sadly, we're seeing Koke and Tristana in this game. It's fun. It's fun to see those comfort picks. But still, yes, I agree with you. It doesn't make that much sense to go for the Nami and Lily at the same time, because usually when you go for an Enchanter or someone that is squishy on the support role, then you would want to go for an engaged, tanky kind of jungler that is able to face shake stuff. But because it's a Nami and Lucian pick, that means that Lilia is going to be on the team.
Yeah, but the Braum is very tanky. Can't say the same about Ultimo. He's melted by all the 80 carries. The Lullaby only an Anibot to cleanse. The Vayne doesn't go down. MKL has been huge all games in many range. Perfect cleanse. 6 annex them. They will finally take him down there by the assist of Ozhol. And that's a big win for Garden, who are gonna transition that straight into the Baron.
They have to go to the Baron now because they know they have the numbers advantage, but the TP is going to come in from Anibot to try and make sure that they can reject this chance of Baron. Ermin is not going to be able to turn on his own because he's just a small Nami, a fish in the river. But what's for sure is Ruse have to fight for this Baron. If they don't fight for this Baron, their game might as well be done.
Small fish and a big pawn with the Baron is the king, and Ruse are fighting for redemption. They need to find something here. The Cassante kept Vanta away, but can they clear out that fight? Because Sway and Anibot are still on their tail. Panda gets one, and now that Tusada and Braum are looking for an angle, Anibot forces one of these flashes, but the fight is kind of disjointed. Sway is on one side, Anibot is on the other. They're trying to make some space, and sure, the Braum can tank it all away, but after that, they will have to retreat, and Anibot still trying to deny them as much as they can, but try as you might, Garden Gaming, they know that the jungle is their own, and now they expanded their territory into the river. Their one worry, however, is that Ruse now are going to be on solo.
And that was absolutely beautiful coming from Yuzol's side, because he knows that the only chance that Ruse Esports have in terms of trying to steal this Baron is going to be the Nidalee. So all he had to do is just flash over the wall, try to make sure that the Nidalee is not able to access the Baron pit, and make sure that they can secure this Baron. And after they did that, try to escape with as many people as possible and not make the same mistake that Ruse made when they made the Baron call on the 20-minute mark. But they did not make that mistake. They only gave up one life or maybe two with Ermin's life, but still, that is not a big of an issue, because especially your main carriers are going to have these Baron buffs and are going to be able to take these raptors and make sure that Ruse Esports is going to be choked out.
Oh, no, Anibot, no. Okay, he's alive, but Squidly isn't. Maybe that's a chance for Ruse now. Man advantage for their side. They know that the Lily is close by, but they've made enough distance. Sante's in mid. So if they were able to get a catch there, That would have been perfect. Now they're actually looking on the collapse on the Cassante. However, looks like everybody's accounted for, and it will be a reset, but that's a big takeaway from that fight.
That is for sure. Maybe sure you didn't take the second turret on top lane, but you still were able to get some cams. But Corki is going to be exchanged for those cams. So that is still going to be something that Guardian Gamer are going to have to look out for, because sure you have that lead, sure you have those items, especially 3 items and a half on Lucian and the Nami to complement that, but still. Anibot with the 3 items and finished LDR is going to be a main issue, and especially once Nidalee is going to be able to take the death cap, that is going to be a bigger issue for them. And the Kog'Maw has decided to opt for the Randuin's Almond instead of going for more damage, because he knows once he has the Bot Trick and Rage Blade and Velvori Flicker Blades, the game is going to be really easy for him in terms of DPS, but he just needs to survive as much as possible. The red is not going to be stolen from the side of Panda, but maybe Panda's life is going to be stolen, especially low-key is trying to chase that misses everything, but Exunum is going to be the victim of all of the happenings that have happened in the red because of the calling that is coming from MKL.
Yeah, we said that there's one mistake that you can make, and that's to leave the Kog'Maw alone. They've done just that, and, well, left to their own devices, Illusion is a very fatal threat to use just as a small puppy in this big world. And now that's a big man advantage, 25 more seconds, where there is no Kog'Maw. But luckily for Ruse, their waste spots are actually perfect in the climb like this. They can stall all they want because both side lanes are pushed in, and Guardian Gaming can only have mid as their one safe space, so they can actually try to push and contest. But that's where everybody from Ruse is. Ruse all in mid. He might have the angle low key. He's looking for the lullaby. He found an angle, and Anibot is kind of late, however, and now Anibot is looking for a go in. He cleansed himself in. Ozol is there. Anibot has to go away, and now you're gonna have to actually sacrifice the old members. Panda dies for the transgressions, but still only a 1-for-1.
That was such a wonky team fight that is coming from Ruse, and it's gonna be a 1-for-1 for both of the teams. But the second turret is gonna fall in the hands of Squidly, which means that this Corki is gonna have a lot more gold in his pocket to finish the IE, which is gonna make him a bigger threat. And that means that not only Loki and MKL are going to have that much of a threat, also the Corki is going to be a threat as well with the finish of the IE from his side. And a lot of damage is going to be dashed out of these champions. But still, Drake has 1 minute and 30 seconds left. They know that Ruse Esports have the tempo, so they are trying to get as much vision as possible on the bot side. But Redemption coming out of nowhere. I mean, maybe they do it for vision, but I don't think you need vision on these fruity.
I'm a plant, yeah. I'm the honey fruit, yeah.
But still, it's something.
Oh,
wait.
It's
a bit sneaky, but nothing's gonna happen. No, nothing.
I mean, if they simple out there, and that's a dangerous part, by the way. I feel like there is something now with the renaissance of Vayne back into the league and pretty much into professional play. We've seen the return of the OG sport of Vayne spotting. Thankfully enough, in this game, Hypa hasn't really been a mass offender in that sense. He's been pretty much, what you would expect out of an ADC. He's somewhat aggressive since you have the invis, since you have all the tools for these outplays, but not too manic in their approach. However, speaking of being manic, the Braum is able to tank everything in that trade. No culling remaining, but still the wave is there for the Nami. Ruse needed to be there first for that soul. Look at the damage out of Illusion. Hypa's already out of the fight, thankfully. Some heals from Lily and the shield that caused them to be back in. But, considering the fact that Ruse is a team that has multiple ADCs, they're being spaced out really well by Guardian in this team fight.
They are getting spaced out really well, and the amount of damage that is coming out of MKL is going to make it a bigger threat for them. Hypa is able to get a lot of the HP coming back because of the ball trick and the honey foods that he was able to get from. But still, the ulti coming from the Nami, that was going to be blocked. The E is coming from the Lilia as well to make sure that Zeyzal is not able to play the game as much as possible. But the Drake is going to be on the side of Guardian Gaming, but maybe because of the spear landing, they might try to go for a fight, but they decide not to, especially with the Braum not being that very high HP, so they don't want to risk anything. They take the mid lane wave, they head into the top side because they know Guardian Gaming are going to be really late to it, and maybe they are able to burst this Baron because they have the Vayne and the Kog'Maw on their side.
Oh, well, they're trying to bait it out. They're not going for it outright because, as he said, while they do have the damage in his way, it's actually able to heal up thanks to the Warmog. I feel like if they needed to commit to it earlier, they're committing to it now. They're definitely bursting it pretty low. Exxon is actually eating the bowling ball. Where is it? Everyone to their own devices, and the Kasante and Lucian are gonna dive the back line. What can he do? It's 80 carries. You can do the damage, but you're all gonna be brought down at the end of the day. Low key is able to burst them all down. Redemption will not find the kill, but the Gunslinger will cleanse all opposition. The triple kill for the Lucian. And Garden Gaming has found their ace.
The Cassante, able to hold down 3 of the main carries that are coming from Ruze Esports. They tried to start the Baron, they tried to finish the Baron, but just too quick of a call coming in from Guardian Gaming. They know that the Baron is gonna be on the hands of Ruze if they take too late, and because of that, they are able to react really quickly and execute a beautiful team fight to make sure this game goes into their hands. The first game of the day is gonna go on the side of Guardian Gaming, and they prove that they are the better team, and Ruze Esports deserves to be in the last place, but still, Zuzel might have another issue. Hype is trying to go for something. Zonny is gonna be there. Squidly is gonna try and end this Nexus, but not enough. It's gonna be the game for Guardian Gaming, and they take out Ruze Esports.
Yeah, Ruze, they're in last place. Unfortunately for them, they will only keep their 3 wins. And well, with that out of the way, I think that means that we actually have locked in top 4, if I'm not mistaken, for the side of Guardian Gaming. I think, yeah, with that 8th win, they're pretty much confirmed for that. So, congratulations to them. They actually escaped the lower bracket hell, which is something that is going to be very important for them. But for Ruze, yeah, look, I don't think there's so much deep analysis that we can just talk about that game because it all depended on micro. You had 380 carries in one team. The other team had the Lilia that had to play against those 380 carries. But a couple of crucial mistakes, and the one takeaway from that game is that people have forgotten how to play around Kog'Maw because they've left him for stranded way too often on the side of Ruze.
Poor guy, poor guy. It feels like I'm watching a solo queue ADC that is just like being left out of everyone, and it's just a very poor guy not knowing where he is. But it is what it is. You have to try and train with the Kog'Maw a lot more to peel him better. But they just weren't able to, and Guardian Gaming are able to get out with the win.
Yeah, Guardian Gaming got their win, got their top 4, and we're gonna have an interview with one of their members. Who knows, like a player, coach, depending on what will happen right after the break. So stay tuned.
What I carry on my shoulders, I'm showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust, despite how much we lost. You will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength. stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust, despite how much we lost. You will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I said a player or a coach. We did get the coach. So, Coach Vice, first of all, welcome aboard and congratulations on locking your top four.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's great. Well, heading into that game, you needed that win to lock top four, and well, Ruse just threw the weirdest trap I think I've seen in a while. So, how was your reaction as a coach in the drafting phase when, like, you saw the Nidalee, you saw the Vayne, and then what were your thoughts, like, on the way the draft was structured and why you actually pivoted into your own comp at the end?
I mean, the Vayne, I think, just came out of because they saw our Kisante coming. So they really wanted like to play the sides with the Sun and Vayne, which I think is like a good way because like we in general like drafted a lot of champs that like won a team fight. So they just looked to avoid this a little bit. And yeah, I mean, we just dropped the Lucian army then at the end because like we felt very, very confident on it. And I think it just rounded up the comp perfectly. And yeah, I mean, we were very happy with the outcome of the draft, I think, in general.
I mean, you did talk about the Lucian Nami and dropping it at the same time, but you also have to talk about us. Why did you do the lane swap meta in the first place? Because we know it's nerfed until the first recall, then you swap back and such things. Why did you make that call in the first place?
I mean, I cannot go into detail that much, but
Okay.
um, obviously, yeah, just for like some early levels, it can be like very good to don't give Vayne like this early lead, and I think Lucian Nami can always like come back on Kog'Maw Lucian, so why not? Why not? If you don't like overdo it, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that, especially with the win that is coming from your side, which was magnificent. But also another question: why did you decide to opt into the Nami and the Lilia when we often see an Enchanter support being matched up with a jungle that is a bit more beefy? Why did you decide to go for Nami and Lily instead?
Because like we already had like really good like fighting power, and usually like for this last game, because we had a little bit of a frustrating lose the last game, we just decided, okay, just go for confidence. Just go for confidence. Confidence is key, and we felt like just very very confident on dropping it this game, and yeah, it worked out. I mean, Lucian did Miko did an insane job here.
Yeah, well, you were talking about lazy. They got their own game against Unique, so their work is cut out for them a little bit. But well, now you've actually avoided that lower bracket. Well, I would say hell because it's very difficult to play with that pressure from the first game on. How do you feel your odds are coming into playoffs?
I mean, we had some like roster changes as well and stuff, and a lot of things were going on. I think the moment like we really connect each of these talented players together and like really make some like sort of working around with them, yeah, and like especially looking into like promotion games or whatever, I think like then it really can like work out and we are like a really high competitor. But currently it's all completely open. Like you cannot tell, okay, this team will definitely beat this team or whatever. Like everyone can beat everyone, but we are like really striving to
Yeah.
prepare to win.
Yeah, and I love the confidence. I love the aspiring confidence, especially as you said. There is no Venom crest of the last year. Everything is open. We've seen Unique pretty much like tumble the ball at the end there of the later half of the split. So you know what? I'll be cheering for it for you guys. And yeah, with that, thank you so much, Coach Vice, for being with us. And second game coming right up will be between the two teams of 42 Gaming and Fourth Wall. Fourth Wall needs this win so they can actually log the last place in playoffs. So we'll see what happens with there after that break. See you soon, boys.
Thank you for having me.
What I carry on my shoulders, showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust. Despite how much we lost, you will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength. No. I got passion. What I carry on my shoulders, I'm showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust, despite how much we lost. You will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength. Fire passion. I got fire passion. shoulders. We're showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust. Despite how much we lost, you will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength. No.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It was a bit of an entertaining first game, but hopefully we brought back down to earth here with the second one. Of course, the game I'm talking about is going to be 42 Gaming that are fighting for their spot at the top two, and they will be taking on the side of Fourth Wall. For Fourth Wall, this is their playoffs run. It's either them, if I'm not mistaken, and Chaos. Like one of these two teams in this game or the next game will be the one that will take the sixth and final spot in the playoffs, and the other one will unfortunately have to take the sidelines alongside Bruze. So let's head to the draft and see what's going to happen. And speaking of which, the draft itself, let's just say that there was a little bit of a mishap on the side of Fourth Wall, so they will have to lose one of the bans.
They have to lose one of the bans on one of the most important games for them as an organization to get the last spot in the playoffs, which is not something that you want to start the draft with in the first place, but it is what it is. You have to play with the cards that you are dealt with. But on the side of 42 Gaming, they're very happy with the brand ban, and they also have another ban, so they're just gonna rub it in the face of Fourth Wall and be like, haha, you don't have a ban. So they're gonna enjoy that by banning the NLC, which is something that we have seen coming from the side of the first game on Bruze Esports, but that did not work out too well from them. But maybe they're scared because Bash could be a good NLC.
Yeah, I mean, Bash is definitely a good Nidalee player, and Baomeef has also been kind of impactful on the other side. But if you're talking on the side of 42 Gaming, you mostly are talking about Chrissy and how good they are on these ADC picks. So, you know, it will kind of feel bad that, you know, you can ban out the Tristana or the Kaisa. You gotta pick between one of the two and then give the other for the two. I feel like banning Nidalee is also some priority on the side of Baomeef, much as the same that we've seen on the side of Bash, since I feel like Bash has treated that catalyst for a lot of what Fourth Wall are trying to do. But yeah, in that sense, I really understand the draft, and well, we're gonna have something completely different. Fully meta still, Sejuani opens up the playing field for a whole plethora of picks, both in the top side and in the bottom side.
I mean, this is interesting because now you decided to ban 3 AP junglers for Bash, regardless Nidalee and Brand. That means that he's a carry potential player that can just completely take over the game if he can take those carry champions in the first place. But there's also Zyra, if you want to go for that kind of champion. They decided to pick the Ezreal, and on the side of 42 Gaming, they decided to go to one first pick, which is a bit of a question mark, but they can always pair it with an engaged score. They can go for the Yone against Corki or Tristana. If they want to play split push, that is also an option for them because the 21st pick is something that has been picked from their side. But the Olaf is gonna be the pick from the side of Fourth Wall. I'm actually not sure if that's an Olaf jungle or if it's an Olaf top lane, because I haven't seen Olaf in such a long time.
I feel like it usually ends up in top lane. Theodore is known to be able to play some of these carry champions, and I feel like it's a really good pick considering what we're gonna see. Yeah, you know, you said it yourself. Usually the Sejuani has yet another engaged support, or at least engaged pick alongside it, that makes the picks completely easy. And that's why I feel like the Olaf has such high value. Kaisa has to walk in pretty much up close, almost melee range. Sure, you got the invisibility to maybe kite out for a few seconds, but that Olaf, he's just gonna abandon all the crack control, all the flow line, and just Ragnarok straight into your face. And the Leona might be good for some interactions, but especially against the Olaf and the Ezreal, I feel like it's kind of a self-counter pick, and you're hoping that JJ is gonna have a field day onto one, that maybe Rexat is just gonna leave the top side and let Chrissy free farm until they get to that point where they can actually take on the head.
I mean, it's mainly about versus, so if he's able to just make sure that Olaf doesn't get too ahead. If he doesn't get too ahead, that is something that's beneficial for Kaisa, because she will have a lot of damage along with Static Shift and God.
There she
is. The Zyra is going to be something for Bash. Sure, you bet the 3 AP champions and junglers that he can carry on, but there's always the Zyra, which is going to be superior in terms of full clearing, but not that superior in terms of gank potential that is compared to the squad. So now, the main question is, what is the counter pick that is going to come from the top lane to match the craziness that the Olaf the line pick would have?
Well, they already answered that. They said we don't want Camille. We don't want anyone to have access to our backline there. Especially on the top side, if you're gonna play against the Camille as the Olaf, it's not the easiest of matchups. And you know, we talked about it a little bit. Zyra, not the highest gank potential, but she has very high terrain control. I look at the fights, maybe at the Dragon, maybe at the Grubs, even at the Herald and the later Dragon. Like, she's gonna have a lot of value in controlling some of these choke points. But she also presents an opportunity for 42, where now your Leona, Sejuani, and even the Kaisa all have one very easy target that doesn't have an arcane shift, that doesn't have a Ragnarok, and should be an easy kill if you actually find the Zyra. That's why I understand why you want to also limit the other options of engaging, and why the Puppy ban is also good, because in the support role, Puppy is gonna have immense value if you pick yet another, like, snowbally engaged team fight oriented champion on the top side.
You don't think? I'm really surprised about the drafting that has been coming so far in this game. We haven't seen any Tristana or Corki at all. I'm
I'm happy.
happy though.
I'm happy.
I'm happy about. I'm not saying I'm not happy about that.
I
But it's
swear, if you jinx it, I'm actually gonna be so mad about that, because I
okay.
feel like
Okay.
we're,
No,
we're
no, no,
gonna.
no, 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 no. You can't be mad about that. Come on, it's second phase Tristana or Corki. Like, come on. It's not first pick. It's not first phase. So it's something that is.
I was
freshly
quiet because I
prepared.
don't want it. Like, they can pick a mage here, and I'll be happy. Like,
No,
they
no, no,
pick
no,
a
no, no,
mage.
no, you can't. You can't go mage here. Come on, there's no way you have to go mage. Okay, okay. There's Lucian, there's Tristana, there is Corki, there is Aatrox, but the amount of CC and magic damage that you already have from the side of the blue team is already too much. So if you want to go for something like Kuei, for example, or go Oriana or such a thing, the issue with that is the Merc Trade value is going to be on off the roof. So it's not going to be something that is easily picked. So they can still go for an AP pick, especially with the amount of AP damage that Kaisa could dash out to static spell. But if they opt into a mage, then they would be just shooting themselves in the foot. with that mage.
Hallelujah. I
And
mean,
then
not.
Lucian, it's not Corki with Tristana, so I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's not going to Tristana, but you know the answer. Like, you see Illusion, I feel like you pick Corki in that
Draven,
situation.
Draven.
Yeah, Draven is a good answer, but I've seen
Please.
Wanted. Like, you even see Wanted with me in the Arabian League. I haven't seen him play Draven. I don't think he knows how to play
Just
Draven.
out of it.
So it's
Just
not
get out
happening.
of that. Please make this. Oh come on! I don't mind. It's not Corki. It's not Tristan. I'm pleased. with this.
Yeah, and I feel like, now I look at the whole thing, I think, okay, the Yone, in combination with everything else that we have, does actually make perfect sense. Because you got very low range on both JJ and Chrissy on the Kaisel and the Lucian. And then you look at the Zyra that can actually space them out. Look at the Olaf that doesn't have to cover a whole lot of distance to just catch up to the Lucian and the Kaisa. Oh, sure, both of them do have like some form of mobility with the supercharge or the Relentless Pursuit, but once they wear out, you're pretty much dead meat. So I really like the Yone. I think he gives a lot of options for the side of fourth wall, but they really need to have some stability in the early game, because I feel like is gonna be the part that is gonna be the hardest part of the game. Balmy, JJ, Chrissy, especially Rexat, like, the Leona and Adistar, both of them roaming, it can disrupt the entire map if that happens.
I mean, honestly, Leona and Ellis. I mean, a main reason why the engage supports are so strong now, because those two champions, once they arrive at level 6, they don't have to be with their ADC anymore. You can
Mm.
just roam around like headless chicken. You can look for anything in the side lane. You can try to look for collapses with the jungle. You can just give your ADC all that solo XP and create numbers advantage on the other side
Mhm.
of the map. Especially since both Ezreal and at the same time Kaisa do have some kind of escape tool, whether it's the Killer X6 coming from them or the Arcane Shift coming from Ezreal. So because of that, it gives more space for their supports to roam as much as they want. Unlike the Kog'Maw, who we saw in the first game, completely abandoned by his support and just go like, "Hey, good luck to you, man. You can do it. I believe in you," and just getting
Yeah.
completely demolished by the enemy team.
Yeah, but we've seen how much damage the Lucian can do with the Nami in the last game. Now we'll have to see how much they can do on their own in the mid lane. Of course, as we said, up against that Yone. And I feel like, we haven't touched on the Yone that much, at least in the laning phase, as far as it goes. And, well, with the build that we've seen, I know that you hate it so much, that D Shield, second wind, fleet footwork, and just, you just take
It's
all the poke, you don't care about it.
I mean, it's disgusting, but at least it's a Yoni pick. It's not an ADC on mid lane,
Mhm.
even though I'm using it in solo queue. But still, I really want to see those fresh champions that are
Mhm.
not just hitting you from 2 kilometers away and having 800 HP at level 1. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see absorb life
Yeah.
trades and such things. I just want to see some good gameplay in mid lane.
Hey, we might as well have that, as we will actually go down to the Rift and fourth wall, everything to play for. It looks like that they've come up with all their trump cards for it. And any second now?
1 second.
Okay, so wait. So how about this? While we transition in, Yoichi, how do you feel about the game? Like, give us a prediction. Like, if you've seen the two drafts,
Ah,
how do you feel about the fourth wall change? Does it
mm,
actually make it into playoffs?
uh, I mean, it depends mainly whether they can are able to make Olaf ahead or not, because it depends on two things. Okay, whether the solo lanes are able to get ahead or even at least get even, or if Zyra is able to get to full clear tempo and such things. But the game is ready. We're going to go into the Rift. We talked about the draft and talked about the champions, and now we can talk about the gameplay that is going to happen from both teams. Fourth Wall has to secure this win if they want to get into playoffs, but on the side of 14 Gaming, they just want to prove that they're the best. And they have the Sejuani to prove that, along with the Leona and Aatrox. Now, the main question is going to be, is that Phase Rush Aatrox going to be able to survive the Olaf, which is very smart keystone on the side of Virtusu? But at the same time, are they gonna be able to abuse that Olaf, especially since Zyra ganking potential is not as good as the Sejuani?
Yeah, looks like that is the case. And from what I've seen, for the most part, I also do like the face rush, but it does pop a question in my head. Like, will the face rush actually help you to chase the rest of the members down? Because sure, it's gonna be pristine in the lane itself. It's gonna be something if you are actually able to get a chance to go onto Bash. But Wantage doesn't really care. He's gonna walk into melee range. Same thing can be said for Theodore later on. But I mean, maybe I'm just doubting the pick of the Aatrox itself, but we've seen how much Virtuoso is actually able to do with that one. So we'll see what's gonna happen. Fourth wall, the last remaining bastion of the English nations. We'll see if they are actually able to make it out as the lanes do start, and yeah, already it's a bit of bickering between the two teams.
A little bit. Especially from Theodore with his Qs. He knows he can zoom the Aatrox, and he's abusing that fact because he's just an angry Viking. So he does not mind doing that kind of thing because the phase rush is not going to be easily procced from the side of Virtuso. And because of that, it makes him get a bigger lead on top side. And at the same time, on the bot lane, 42 is able to get a better, or a couple of good trades, and which go into secure the level 2 lead for them. And that's something that is good for the side of bot lane of 42 game. Because so far, Theodore is just abusing Fortiso completely on the top.
I mean, that's what you would anticipate at level 1 to be. You don't really have the tools to walk out of the Olaf engage. So if you're the Aatrox, you just want to survive for the first 4 or 5 levels, and then once you have enough points in your Darkened Blade, and you have the dash as well to try to space it out a bit, that's when the Aatrox actually plays the lane. But yeah, levels 1 through 4 is definitely not easy, and we're seeing Virtuoso just being absolutely bullied here by Theodore, who is having a good game, is having a good time there on the Olaf. But the real question is, when push comes to shove, will he be able to break down Chrissy and JJ later on?
They're going to be able to do that. But so far, Zyra is going to be able to make her full clear on board. 3 minutes, 4 seconds is a really good time on Zyra. She's going to go into the top side of the scuttle because she knows that she doesn't have the prio on mid lane, nor does she have the prio on the bot side, because it simply is just how the matchups works, yeah? Lucian has the prio on mid lane, and Kai'Sa and Leon are able to get the prio on bot side, and she knows that, and Bash knows that, and he's gonna go towards the top side to look for something on the mid lane until the scuttle spawns, because he was so fast on the clear, and once he gets the scuttle, then he can decide whether he wants to try to look for a gank on top lane, because Aatrox is slow pushing into Olaf, or maybe he just resets and gets a better tempo on Sejuani, because Sejuani is still on the scuttle compared to the Zyra who's just finished. But now, Zyra's gonna be on the top side, gonna be on that bush. Maybe she looks for something, but the phase rush is gonna come from Virtuso, and so the gank comes from Bash.
Oh, but the root is there. Will they have enough damage though? Looks like the answer will be no for Truso. Forced to flash away, but still, good takeaway from them, especially considering the one thing that we haven't talked about is in that time, Theodore took the time to have a cheater recall, and now you've punished Virtuoso out of there. Sure, he does have the TP, but you can just shove another wave here on the Olaf and basically back out again. And you've won the TP war of attrition just off of that one gank.
Won that. But so far, Sejuani has the tempo in terms of jungle camps because she was able to reset much quicker than Zyra, because Zyra just went towards the top side to look for a gank, but she wasted the flash of Aatrox. But because of Aatrox and the fact that he has an item advantage with the TP that he has, because Theodore doesn't have a TP, that means that he can easily crash this wave, and Virtuoso just doesn't lose that much in comparison to Theodore. Maybe he loses a couple of XP, but still, he was able to crash the top lane wave, and now both junglers are aware of where the enemy jungle is, because both of them know that both of them started top side and they're pathing into the bot side, and the second clear is going to make them know that both of them are going to be around Raptures and Wolves because of the pings that are coming on the Rapture side of Sejuani.
Things that came out onto that side. The Dragons already down on the Rift has announced their presence as the Inferno is going to be the first of the elements that are available. But yeah, as he said, which also off the TP didn't lose too much. But now without a flash, I'm definitely looking out for where the wave will be positioned for level 6. A lot of movement here from 42 Gaming. They want to catch Vantage because they know that this is the one timing where they can actually catch the Yone and maybe force a kill. A lot of things towards that side. They have control over that one part, and Virtuoso is doing their damn best to stall out level 6 as long as possible out of the field.
Bigger slow push coming from the side of Theodore. Now Leon is going for an engage on Zyra, and the first blood is going to come from the side of 42 Gaming. Want to try to look for the Fate Seal on JJ, but the flash is going to come in. Grissom is going to be in trouble because he does not have that flash, but the Ignite is going to come in. The flash coming from Wantage to secure the kill on JJ, and Theodore has arrived on this battlefield.
Well, he has. He does have the Ragnarok, but I don't know about the damage. You're walking into the Yona, and it's easy work for the side of 42 Gaming. They find one. They're looking for the next, but look at how much the Olaf is doing. That's a double kill. Still healing out. He's still a very angry Viking, and he will take his call back.
Oh man, Theodore, what are you doing with the Ragnarok? He was able to come at the perfect time to make sure that the fight is going as even as possible. 2 kills on the Olaf. This is a nightmare for Virtus, so that is not something that you want to deal with. But Bash is going to be now on the scuttle. JJ is going to try and deny some of that scuttle, but he's just going to take that small little plant that is Zyra's plant. And at the same time, Theodore is going to be able to reset, and he's going to have a huge lead, but he's not going to have any tempo for these grubs. So Rexat knows that, and now they're going for an engage on Bash.
Yeah, they look it on to Bash, who's dead to rise here. Even the chain as well. The fate is sealed. But it will not be the Yone fighting that one. It will be the World Ender as he ends the dreams of Bash. And, well, you know, sometimes photosynthesis is good, but this time the lights are going to be cut off.
The lights are going to be definitely cut off, especially with the tempo abuse that came from the side of 42 Gaming. That was really greedy coming from 4th wall to start the grubs there, even though they know that Theodore needs to reset and he needs to get the item. So they could have just went towards the bot side to look for something. But Alistar, Grissom, now coming from this time, he went for it, but that wasn't enough at all because the killer instinct is going to come from Chrissy, and he also has the barrier and flash. So it was a good try. It was just a waste for ulti for the Kai'Sa side.
Yeah, and I like how Chrissy was so calm there, not really electing to use the barrier, knowing that the killer instinct is going to be more than enough to space out that Alistar. And with that found, now Chrissy, sure, doesn't have the most amount of mana, but with Balmeath actually making their way towards that bot side, they might have the lead onto that fight towards the bot lane. Of course, that's why we're seeing the two-shot barrage used. They want to force the recall here. They want to push the wave, find the lead, maybe even find an angle on Rexat. But yeah, Leona's going to be super tanky. Not a whole lot of work that you can do to bring her down just with the amount of damage you have with only the tier on the Ezreal. So no harm, no foul, but they got their pie on the bot side, and they're going to transition that into Bash. Now actually looking for another objective, but with the support of their team.
Another objective. Zyra is going to be looking for that objective, especially with the prior that is coming in from the bot side of 4th wall. Now, Sejuani is also going to look for bot side with some of the damage that he might have, but sadly, he's not going to try and look for something, especially with the fact that Chrissy does not have enough mana to look for something. So he's just going to decide to go for the red, then he's going to head towards the top side, and maybe then he'll try to look to help Virtuoso, especially with some of the trades that he is actually winning against the Olaf that has 2 kills and a Tiamat. So that Tiamat is just going to make sure that the wave is always pushed into the side of the Aatrox, which means that Sejuani could look for something, but it still could be dangerous because of the Ragnarok that could come from the Olaf. So it's not an easy task, but it's definitely something that could be in the heads of the 42 game.
Yeah, something in their heads. And, you know, that's something that they can look out for and maybe plan around playing around that. And I feel like for the side of 42, they definitely understand their spikes. That's why we're seeing now the Aatrox, despite Virtuoso being equally as 2-0 as Theodore. They understand. You know what? Like our best bet is just to leave the Aatrox alone. He can just use that phase rush and make sure that there are no chance for a solo kill in the top lane. And they're just trying to play around contagion. Just, you know, keep Theodore on the top lane, leave him there, make sure that nobody can actually get to that top lane, make sure that fourth wall don't have the tempo to maybe even lane swap and go for a play around their grubs. And that's exactly what they're doing. That's why I see Balmave here towards the river, making sure that that roam is inaccessible. But now with Bash being there, that is something that can tip the scales. Virtuoso does have that phase rush is procced here, even with the World Ender, and that's too much distance for them to cover.
Room for the phase rush, but at the same time, Rigzad is going to be on the bot side, leading that dive that is coming from in the bot side of 42 Gaming. But at the same time, that engage is coming from Grissom on Chrissy. He still has the killer instinct. He also has the flash and barrier to make sure that he's not in trouble. But the one who is going to be in trouble is going to be Wantage because of the amount of damage that is coming in. The Sejuani, she's supposed to be a tank, but that tank deals a lot of damage. A beautiful flash coming from Chrissy and an ignite coming from Grissom.
Ignite as well. They try, but Chrissy's still playing out of his mind so far. He's been one of the best AD carries so far in the second division, and he's still tearing up more. But speaking of things being torn apart, that's his second plate there for the Olaf, and now Theodore is starting to accumulate somewhat of a gold. 20 CS, 2 plays to nothing. And this Olaf is going to be a genuine threat of that recall that will be cancelled. Theodore had to take that trade. Remember, no Ragnarok since he used it out earlier, and Bash left out for that. Even the flare will light up the sky, and this time too much light for the plant, and it will have to rest for him.
Too much light for the plant. He's gonna die because of the too much sunlight that is coming in from the Leona. But that shows just how much 42 Gaming is capitalizing on their tempo. Whenever their support has the numbers advantage, they always try to abuse it. They always try to catch the jungler, and the jungler is not that aware of where the enemy support is compared to Grissom, who is not matching the tempo that is coming in from Rexat, which is well played from the side of 42 Gaming. But fourth wall, if they want to get into the last spot of the playoffs, they need to be more patient whenever they're playing. They still have an Olaf who has a Stride Breaker, and they also have that Yone who still needs to finish the bot trick, and also the Ezreal who needs to finish the Triforce. In comparison, when you look at JJ or even look at Chrissy, you will see that he already has the Static Shift, and they also have the Kraken Slayer. So now both of these main carries are gonna dash out a lot of damage compared to the Yone and Ezreal, but the Yone and Ezreal still need to arrive at that first item. So whatever gameplay you want to decide to go for, it needs to be around PvP.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially for something like the Ezreal, you really want your 2-item power spike to be your main playing point. Because then, you do actually have a chance. Theodore, of course, able to trade back well now up against the Aatrox, and that's the kind of way you want to play the lane. You want to start it out down in the middle, make sure you get some space so you can walk through it also with his face rush. And yeah, you know what? Like, just back to the team comps, and yeah, like, you know, I look at the Ezreal Triforce now completed, but my main eyesights are actually onto that Manimune and onto Wantage, maybe being caught out. Rexat all the way apart, and the fate of Wantage will be sealed over Rescue, as he's gonna ult himself out. But maybe a dive, maybe a repeat here. Balmy was not able to finalize the kill the face time around, but with the help of Chrissy, it's gonna be easy.
The problem is when 42 Gaming are doing all this gameplay on the bot side of the map, they're not responding on the top side just yet. Like, sure, Grissom tried to look for something on the bot side, but it wasn't quick enough. They didn't read the play quick enough. Now they are reading it by taking the plays on the mid lane and reacting to it by also taking their Gromp on their top side. But the plates that are coming in into Lucian's pockets are still way too much, especially if he can take this turret before the plates fall off, which he will be able to do, and 10 seconds are going to be left onto the Drake. So now 42 Gaming are in the lead, and the main question is going to be, are they going to be able to use that lead to capitalize on it and try to finish out this Drake and stack up on Drakes?
A massive lead onto JJ, as you know, we were talking about the 2-item spikes. The 1-items are completed on everyone on the map, a lot of 2 supports. But in that case, fourth wall, they know that they got their items, and they're just gonna say, hey, we don't need to contest against 42. We just let them have theirs, we have ours, we already got the Drake, so we just want the Herald And I'm pretty sure their one hope will be just pop that tier 1 in mid, and maybe then we can play around the jungle fights where I feel like this Zyra is going to have a much easier time in comparison to that wide open river and lanes that she's continuously being caught on. So hopefully, maybe Bash then will actually be able to have some agency in the fight, because so far he's just been the victim, not the perpetrator.
The victim, that's definitely going to be the case, but maybe the victim is going to be Balmith. But this is Wani now. The Alistar still has his ulti, but now the engage is going to come in from Bash.
Yeah, they come out with everything, flashing into the Crucial Barrage, and Rexad suddenly in harm's way. One auto attacking Grissom is gonna nail that one down. And that's yet another kill for Fourth Wall, as they're still making it costly. And all that gold lead, it has been equalized. And remember, they still got the Herald, so they may even be able to tip that in their favor. Theodore on the bot side, the Herald on mid, and yeah, Fourth Wall are eating good.
That was way too ambitious coming from the side of 42 Gaming. Lucian needed to reset after taking the bot lane turret, but they engage coming in now from Sejuani.
Oh, the face seal completely goes awry, and JJ had a chance with the culling to make hard work out of it, but he got caught on the root. He almost died. One pitch misses that mystic shot off of that flash, and 42 Gaming ended up surviving what is a very dangerous.
Fourth Wall are just abusing the mistakes that are coming in from 42 Gaming. Like, the engage that happened from the side of Sejuani was way too ambitious because Lucian needed to reset because he had a lot of gold from the plates that he got and the bot lane turret that he got. But at the same time, Fourth Wall were able to get the Olaf on the bot side, and Rextap is going to also be in trouble because he cannot escape even though he uses ulti because he does not have the flash. That is another overextension coming from the side of 42 Gaming, which is really weird coming from their side, because they need to play around the Lucian who has a lot of items and also play around the Kaisa. But so far, Fourth Wall are just abusing the fact that 42 Gaming are in danger, and Chrissy is going to be also in danger unless if the TP is going to come.
Well, TP is going in from both ends, but Theodore does not have access onto Chrissy. He's able to walk away, able to see the damage from Pursuit, so Bash is gonna stun the tankiest member. Balmith does not look too tanky, however, as Bash is able to wail and bail him down. Ristos is looking for any chance, but it's gonna be the end of the world ender. And Fourth Wall, they're making their way through, and I can tell Tactic is in chat and he's sweating bullets.
What is happening from the side of 42 Gaming? They're just crumbling on all fronts. Chrissy was just in a really weird spot in that bush, trying to hide from the fact that Theodore is able to smell him in the first place, and now Fourth Wall are able to get the second turret on top lane, which is going to make Ezreal even further ahead, which is not something that 42 Gaming wants in the first place, and this is not on the list of lunch and such things that is coming from 42 Gaming. They were playing the early game so well with how they were creating tempo advantages and numbers advantages with their support, but so far in the mid game, Fourth War are just reading them like a book, and the Glacier Prison is going to be coming, is going to come on them.
Yeah, Cleanse used for one. He actually dodges the stun on the flare, but Death to Rise is Bardax. Yeah, you know, the unicorn slide, and looks like he's dead. Maybe it's just come a little bit, you know, like, delayed. He just added that one. Of course, the Ezreal, you know, it's not the biggest of victories because they weren't able to push the tower afterwards. On the opposite side, it's actually Fourth Wall that's getting all the push in mid and bot lane.
I mean, Fourth Wall so far are just having the better read on the map in terms of mid-game. They're reacting to every single play that 42 Gaming are trying to make, and they're reacting to it and creating even bigger advantages from it. So it's not an easy task for 42 Gaming against Fourth Wall, because Fourth Wall so far are really hungry for that last spot in the playoffs, and it's showing from this game. But so far, now they are in the lead. That could switch up at any moment, especially with the end of Kraken Slayer and Essence Reaver coming from JJ's side, but also because 42 Gaming are trying to look for Zyra and also trying to look for those Raptors, but at the same time, Theodore on the bot lane is going to be really ahead on the Aatrox, and it's showing. Even though Aatrox has the phase rush, he cannot just duel him one-on-one, mano to mano, because that champion is just ridiculous. He just gets angry, and you cannot no longer fight against him.
Yeah, speaking of ridiculous, one of the biggest spikes in the entirety of League of Legends is going to be Bardax on the Ezreal on the 2-item spike with the Muramana completed, which is very close to completion. He does have the Warhammer, does have the Longsword, just need the last 1,000 gold on top of it to finish that 2-item spike. And, you know, I feel like if you're Fourth Wall, this definitely feels like, hey, this is the time to fight. No, the Ezreal is almost on 2 items. You get him to 2 items, you get the Yone to 2 items, and this is the recipe for you trying to snowball the game.
Also, this map movement is really weird coming from 42 gamers. Like, you know that Lucian and Kaisel both have the 2 items, so that means that because of the Yone and Ezreal not having those 2 items, you could have contested the Drake and you could have done something against them, especially because the Moira mana is still not present from the side of Ezreal. But they decided to opt into trying to go for a cross map, try to look for a catch on Wantage, but Wantage is just respecting that by going for the longer route instead of just walking into that death bush that is set up by the Sejuani and Leona and the Kaisa. But still, a bit of a weird map movement coming in from the side of 42 Gaming, having 2 power spikes and not contesting that objective. But maybe they didn't have the better tempo, they didn't have any vision set up, and that's something that they could have fixed. But so far, Fourth Wall are just completely abusing the tempo lead that they have to just keep up the vision, make sure they can secure the objective, and make sure that they give enough vision for Theodore to play as much as he wants.
Well, Theodore has been playing plenty, but this time he might have been caught. Thankfully for him, he got the plan. He ejected both members on the bush, so easy work there for the Olaf. He just gets out. He wasted all the time there for both JJ and for Toso. That, you know, they left the wave at the top side for this. They left the contest of the Baron for this. They had weaker numbers. Sure, Theodore doesn't have TP, but the Olaf is going to be very strong in a one-on-one, and the Olaf is close by. That means that Rek'Sai has to be very careful. The extra movement speed does not matter if it's going to be locked down the whole way. Flash in, but everybody's catching up, and that's going to be a final kill. Rek'Sai called for the 4th kill.
That is a final kill or first kill coming from the side of Fourth Wall. They could try to start the Baron because of the Zyra that they have and the amount of damage that they have with the Ezreal, but still they don't want to risk it. They don't want to make a Baron flip, and instead they try to zone out 42 Gaming from this mid wave, and they succeeded in doing so. And maybe they try to start this Baron with the plants, with the helps of the plants, tanking that Baron damage and then just looking for a turn, because Grissom is in the bush, have to face check 42 Gaming to make sure that they never give this Baron. But the ulti coming in for Alistar, and the fight is going to start from Alistar.
Yeah, they tried to take down Grissom. It was tanked the whole way. The Baron is already down. He's able to flash away. However, Theodore will not survive the onslaught. The rest of the team will. That's 4 members alive with a Baron. A life, well worth it. And I would definitely say that this was a good bet for the side of it.
This is a very good death, and instead of looking for the turn together, you know that you have all of that damage coming from the side of Zyra and also the side of Ezreal. So all you have to do is just finish that Baron and make sure you buy as much time with Theodore and Grissom to make sure that Sejuani is not able to access the pit. And because of that, the only person who does not have the Baron buff is going to be Theodore, but that is not an issue, especially with the amount of carry potential that both Wantage has and Vertigas has.
And not just that, the fact that the wave clear from both Chrissy and JJ does at the very least involve them walking close enough to the fact that the 4th wall can actually engage on them. And while we have not seen Wantage actually being able to connect to the big engage, this is the time that the owners come online. And you got the shield bow and the Bork. Muramana completed for the Ezreal. 3rd item is halfway there for Theodore, and like 4th wall are looking that they've had plenty enough of resources to close out this game, but they're still waiting on a concise team fight. And what a cleaner fight that you can have after getting that pick from Balmy, then converting. The crucial barrage is in, but Balmy survives, and I think he has the Warmog, so they are still actually able to contest. No, the Warmog is there, but maybe 42 are stepping too far forward. Grissom not actually tanky enough, and it is the 4th wall that will be called. Voidax able to tap at the first, but Grissom looking for the hero play, find a 2nd kill for himself, and maybe now 42 Gaming have a chance back in this game.
That was perfect from the side of 4th Wall Gaming to just basically make sure that Sejuani is not able to fight. But the problem is you tried to go for an overextension, even though you couldn't do that. But Theodore is now punishing the amount of the overposition that is coming in from JJ. But that wasn't enough. Chrissy is going to be there. He still has the flash. He doesn't have the killer instincts to follow up on that because he knows that Olaf can just be angry and he will be able to turn on him. But now the TPs are coming in for 42 Gaming.
Yeah, Wantage does have the Fate Seal. 4-second recall, but no way that you're gonna get that. The Fate Seal is in, but it should be dead to Rice. It should be dead here, but somehow the tornado is enough for 42 Gaming They wasted all that time, all 5 members, and even a couple of ultimates here. But they did not get the kill. Wantage does have TP, but now neither the ultimate nor the flash.
That was such a wait from Baron Bell from the side of fourth wall. All they had to do is just wait until the side lanes are pushed. Then you can look for something and look for a siege with both of your side laners who are able to create an advantage through side lane because of the amount of items that they have and the Baron buff they have in the first place. But that was a great capitalization coming from the side of 42 Gaming because they were aware that fourth wall does not have the numbers advantage and they do not have TP on Olaf. They do have the TP on Yone, but he decides not to use it, and they just look for that snappy engage. They look for that fight. They look for that potential engage, and they found it, which makes the Baron buff that fourth wall were able to steal so quickly because of the Zyra just completely disappear from the side of fourth wall.
Yeah, completely disappear. Didn't really do a whole lot with it, but maybe can do enough without it. Because they still are in a good place. Of course, Chrissy has been fed enough, and Chrissy single-handedly might go for the cross map here. Wantage, remember, we said no ultimate. Shield will proc, then a fair price for it coming, but they have to worry about way too much now. Recalls, of course, in the fourth wall, but not before Chrissy gets that turret, and maybe even the mid tier too. Would be too far late for them to actually get, but they're not going to elect to go for the tower, instead stealing over the camp and trying to stranglehold the Reach.
Chrissy, a lot of money going into his pocket. 700 gold is not something that is easily to be underestimated, especially with that dab coming from him because he's so happy about the 700 gold that he just got. But that means that Kai'Sa can opt into going for the Shadow Flame if she wants more damage against those squishy targets. Because so far, sure, Olaf is kind of tanky, but he does not have any MR, nor does he have any armor. And Alistar just has the Z's convergence and also the locket. So that damage is going to be massive from the side of Kai'Sa if he decides to go for the Shadow Flame, especially on his W. And whenever 42 Gaming can look for an engagement along with a Glacier Prison or even the Solid Flare coming from Leona, Kai'Sa can always follow that up with her Killer Instinct and also follow that up with her W. So it's not an easy task for fourth wall to be playing against, especially with the amount of gold that is just gushed into both of Lucian and the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, the Kai'Sa, like, you know, like, speaking of Chrissy, like, here are some fun stats. He's the top player in damage per minute. One of the highest of kill shares for the entire team. Top gold, top 5 KD. And the highest player of CS per minute. Look, you just look at the amount of gold he's made extra over Vardax. And remember, the Vardax is no slouch. He's an ex-LEC. Of course, at the time it was called EU LCS player. But he has all that wealth of experience. But fourth wall, they're facing the 4th generation after Vardax, and maybe the new generation has a few tricks up their sleeve.
Maybe they do, maybe they do not, but what's known for sure is that both teams are going to be even in terms of gold. The items are still there, but not in comparison to Kai'Sa and Lucian, because Yone still has 2 items and a half, and Ezreal has 2 items and a half. A lot of damage going on to Rockside sides, and then engage going on Chrissy now.
Ultimate not there from Grissom, so the Zeke doesn't slow down Chrissy. He still is there at the angle. The Sejuani is there as well. Chrissy doing a whole lot of damage. Wantage, not in the range for the Fate Seal. Have to E away. Looking to build a tornado. Has not done so as of yet. And that means they will have to fall back. Chrissy's nailing all that damage, but the Sterax is enough to keep Theodore away. And they will disengage at the end. Nobody dying from either end. But a Baron closer to the side of the fourth wall.
JJ still has the TP if he wants to play for this Baron, but they're not going to start the Baron in the first place. They're only going to try and get some raptures, some stuff like that, and 42 Gaming are going to try and abuse that tempo because they know fourth wall are not on the Baron and they're just trying to back to the base. So now the deja vu is happening, but this time is coming from the side of 42 Gaming because of the amount of damage that is coming in from Chrissy, which means that fourth wall has to face check into this match. Might be in a bit of a pickle because Leona and Sejuani are going to be there, but still Rek'Sai has to flash to just make sure that he is not compromised in this fight. And it was a bit wonky coming from the side of 42 Gaming, but no casualties on either side.
No casualties for now. Grissom is looking for the angle, but yeah, a bit too far off. Maybe now that would have been a chance. DP force, and that's going to be a turnaround from 42. They found their angle. Grissom got overextended, and Balmy's looking for the angle. Wild All did not connect. Balmy deep in the thick of it. However, same can be said for Theodore. He's looking for the damage, but it also is just way too tanky. Heals up the entire health bar, and now it's time for JJ to unleash. Chrissy's out of the fight, but JJ is in it, found the kill. Bardax could not sneak that last shot, and that means that they are still fighting back and
It's
forth.
sealed?
And the Sage will be sealed for one, maybe even for the next one. That has to back off. Very no health bars, and everyone. Brexat again is gonna be taken down. It's a messy fight of fourth wall emergency for you.
What a messy fight, completely trying to look for the engage, trying to look for that closeout. Aatrox and Chrissy are just able to manage to live with a sliver of HP, and that's not gonna transfer into the Baron because simply Chrissy and Virtuoso are still on the map, even though they still have the Zyra, they still have the Ezreal, and they still have all of that damage, but they decide that they want this soul that is coming in from their side. JJ is gonna dash out a lot of damage, which means that Vertigas is gonna be one of their victims, and the other victim is gonna be Wantage, and now Chrissy is arriving to the Drake Soul, and Bash is gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, the instinct is a killer indeed. They push each of them towards each other. Kristen still has a flash. However, remember, Kristen doesn't actually have the damage to kill off the Kai'Sa. And Olaf is wailing and sustaining, but not for long. Virtuoso is going to get that kill. And it's still a messy fight in continuation. This is like the culmination of 2 minutes of non-stop action. And Grissom still looking to add more to that. He's just a silly little cow. He's going to look for an unthinkable. But yeah, like, it's not impossible again.
He's just staring from his bush. He's not doing. He's like, "Hey guys, you're taking to Drake. Great. I'm gonna watch you from here." It's not a pleasant sight for them, especially because they wanted to prioritize the Cloud Soul over Baron buff. But it was still a decent attempt until JJ just completely clutched it with the amount of damage that he was able to dash out with Illusion, and that shows why this champion is something that is currently in the meta in the first place compared to the Yone. But still, the chances of fourth wall is still there because they're still ahead in gold. The main issue still is there, which is that the main carries of 42 Gaming are much more ahead than the main carries of fourth wall, because you look at Theodore, he tried in the last team fight to look for Lucian, but he did not have enough tankiness, nor did he have enough damage to get rid of JJ, and JJ just completely melted him. And at the same time, Chrissy is going for the death cup, which means that any time Theodore tries to go for the front to back or tries to dive into Chrissy or JJ, the amount of mobility that they have in their kit is going to make the mission impossible, and the amount of damage also that they have is going to make Olaf completely melt.
Wait, Grissom, is that a Vision and Watchstone on the Alistar? Oh man,
Why does he not have Warmux?
Yeah. I thought he was gonna go for Warmox third. I thought, okay, maybe Warmox second is not the best choice, but if you go for a third, it's fine. But he doesn't even go Warmox whatsoever. Maybe he doesn't need the health. Maybe he doesn't care about being tanky, because if you clean up the fight 100 to 0, you don't worry about any of that. And they're trying to burn down that Baron. Here comes the engage. 6,000 health on the Baron. They're looking for the angle, but Balmy scared all of them away, and the Void Seekers have seeked the enemy away from the pit. Gonna be a reset, but the dance is not over yet.
A lot of damage coming in now from the side of Kai'Sa. Now the engage is gonna come in with the Solar Flare.
Oh, 3-man room from the Zyra. They're all caught up. Rizzy's still alive. Great barrier. He tries to melt down Theodore. He's gonna do it. But Vortex coming in from the backstab. He's looking for the angle, but they're so damn tanky. And he is just an Ezreal. He's trying to kite that one out. They're trying to create space, and they're kind of succeeding into that, but they will eventually catch up. Rexat is dead indeed. A triple for Vardax, and the experience coming up clutch in the nick of time. Vardax saving fourth wall. Will it be for the fight? Looks like it will be, because Virtuoso cannot add anything further, and it will be a 4-4-3.
42 Gaming are trying to look for that flank position with the Solar Flare that was coming in clutch from the side of Leona, but Vertigas, with the amount of experience that he have in the kiting that Ezreal has, he was able to dash out a lot of damage despite being one item behind. He was the start of this fight, and he made sure that the Aatrox could not get away with all the healing that he has and all the damage that he has, and that makes fourth wall still in the game, because if 42 Gaming was able to look for that flank engage and collapse on the enemy team, they would have completely demolished the game by taking the Baron and just completely demolishing game by sieging with the Kai'Sa W. But because of the clutch that it has come from the side of Vardagas, that is going to be a much harder task for 42 Gaming.
Yeah, still a difficult game for 42 Gaming, but neither of these two teams are out of the woods just yet. The Olaf, he almost has his Sterex back up. And now that he does, he is going to be a threat, and not only that, he's going to be pretty tanky when he decides to go in for the Ragnarok, but the game is pretty much at the end stage. Everybody's on 3-4 items. This is the peak of the two teams, and I feel like the peak of 42 should be slightly higher, but the peak potential for Fourth Wall could not be underestimated. And they are the ones that do have the initial control of the Baron split, and once again, they're going to decide to start it here.
They have to decide to start it here, but the amount of damage that is coming in from JJ is going to make Vargas really low HP. The Fate Seal is going to seal the fate of JJ, and Theodore is looking for an engage.
Oh, it's also very low. He does actually flash away from the True Shot Barrage. Grayson is trying to buy some time. Theodore is tanking out the Baron. They're gonna smite that one down. And Fourth Wall are gonna look to close down the job. Ritzolso and Chrissy are still there. But how much can the MVP of the Summer Split do? Looks like it will not be a whole lot because they have to back off. Bardax is doing the Lord's work there on the Ezreal. And it's only the bot lane to try to salvage the situation for 42.
Another Baron going for the side of Fourth Wall. That is going to be a step closer into that last spot in the playoffs. Something that Fourth Wall is looking to do with this win in this game, but it's still not over yet. The amount of damage that is Chrissy trying to dash out is not enough at all, especially now with the Cloud Soul coming up for the side of Fourth Wall. But maybe 42 Gaming is trying to look for a fight here, but it's really hard, especially since Lucian does not have the TP, but Bomef is going to be on the flank position. He was able to use the blue plant to try and get some vision and maybe try to steal this. He's going to be in the pit. He's going to try and steal this, but also at the same time, that smite is not going to be enough, but the Fate Seal is going to come from Rexhat onto Rexhat from Wantage, and it's going to make sure that Ezreal is going to come out with a double kill from this fight.
Double kill from Ezreal, but a very messy decision making there from 42 Gaming. Like, Baumif is in one side of the world, Rexhat is in the other, and Chris is like, huh? When am I supposed to go in? Chris doesn't even have that much mana to begin with. So if he decides to go in with the killer instinct, he doesn't have the mana to go out. He doesn't have the mana to supercharge once, twice, and thrice, and maybe have a chance into that one. And you know what? While he might be dabbing 24/7, I feel like he's just naying through the pain because it has been a very painful game. For what has been a stellar performance from Chrissy, but unfortunately for him, Fourth Wall has just proven to be too tough of an obstacle to climb across.
Fourth Wall so far getting the lead now, especially with the Cloud Soul that they have, which is going to be utilized really well from the side of Olaf, or even Fate Seal coming from Wanted. But now the engage is going to come in from Bomaf, and it's not going to be catching anyone but the air, which is going to make Fourth Wall have a much bigger advantage on this seed.
JJ and Chrissy, they have to muster up some heroics here. No two ways to think about it. A 4v5, 35 more seconds for Valmy. Everybody's primed on the side of the Fourth Wall. They just want to confirm themselves into the playoffs, into being the 6th spot into the Div 2 playoffs here for the Summer Split. And only the Nexus to play for. They're going to get the engage. JJ is down. It's all into Christy first. Also, doesn't even have the chance to go into that one. Rexha, once again, is going to meet their fate in the eventual death. That's 8 times for the Leona. One final time for Fourth Wall. 6 win, and they are locked in for playoffs. Fourth Wall drops down the ball, and that means they are in. And 42 Gaming, look, all I can say is that was not Rexhat's finest work. Like Rexhat, I don't know what happened there. Neither do Valmy, honestly.
It wasn't Rexhat's clearest game. It was honestly a very messy game, but at least it's something worthy of a last playoffs spot game, you know, like the drama back and forth, Baron fights and team really scrappy team fights and such things. But it wasn't the cleanest of game, but it was still a fun game to watch and cast. So props to Fourth Wall for winning this and having the bigger lead and bigger advantage in terms of macro and such. But shame on you, 42 Gaming, for not using the item advantages that you have. But that's not the end of them, because they're still in the playoffs, so they still have a chance to come back at Fourth Wall if they meet them in the playoffs. But congratulations to Fourth Wall for making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, congratulations to them. We're going to have a brief interview, but that will be right after the break, so stay tuned for that.
What I carry on my shoulders, I'm showing stories too. watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust, despite how much we lost. You will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength. What I carry on my shoulders, I'm showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust, despite how much we lost. You will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength.
Well, welcome back, and man of the hour here. You know, like a big game. Congratulations on making it to the playoffs to begin with.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm pretty sure that some people, like Taxvic specifically, is gonna be following all of that game. But I just want to take it over to you. Like, you know, I felt like that was such a confidence play to just blind the Olaf, have that energy. So, did you feel confident in winning that 1v1 on the top side?
Yeah, I do. I always, when I luck these kind of champions, I am confident, and I think that's like a big part of it. If you want to luck these champs, for sure, you have to be confident enough to play them right.
I mean, the main question is that confidence is stemming from what exactly? Because we haven't seen many Olafs, whether you're looking at other leagues or other ERLs, you don't see Olaf blind pick in that kind of manner. What made you think that, oh, I'm going to go Olaf and I'm going to go full Ragnarok on him? What's the main reason?
Hmm. I think well, the main reason I played a lot like in solo queue, and it is one of my
Oh.
most played champions. I just think I play what I find funny, and I think that skill checking enemies is fun, and like I'll keep doing that, right?
I mean, hey, at least you're not a dirty range top laner that plays Varus or Vayne, so I'm very happy to see that at least. There's some Giga Chat energy that I'll enjoy seeing at the first place. But another thing is, after securing this playoff spot, how confident do you feel going into the playoffs, even though you guys had a bumpy start and going into now the last match and needing this win and going into the playoffs finally?
I mean, I think for the first time in a long time, we're actually the whole squad is gathered, and I think that will also show in playoffs. I think once we get some scrims going, and I think we will for sure deliver some results that are like that people will not expect from us. So yeah, I'm fairly confident that we will do well in playoffs.
Yeah, well, you touched on that. You know, you said the people expectations are going to be pretty low. Of course, understandable since you're the last team that locked into playoffs. But what are your own expectations at Theodore? What are your goals when you're going to walk into the playoffs in 2 weeks?
Well, for sure, I wanna keep skill checking enemy. Like if we're talking about gameplay, I wanna skill check enemy opponents, top laners for sure. If they want to sit and play Casante 10 games, I can't be asked. So I hope someone will pick some exciting picks, and we will have fun for sure.
Okay, look, I'm a man of the fun. I'm a man of all that things, and you did deliver an entertaining game on the top side, and you played it pretty well. So, thank you for the game, and I wish you the best of luck in your run in the playoffs. And you know what, Theodore? Once again, congratulations on making it to the playoffs. And with that, we will have one more game. We're supposed to carry the weight of the world if you lost, but now it's gonna be inconsequential. But at least for chaos, it's gonna be inconsequential. But it still has some weight for the other side. So the final game of the day will be queuing up right after this break. So stay tuned.
What I carry on my shoulders, I'm showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust, despite how much we lost. You will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength. What I carry on my shoulders, I'm showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust, despite how much we lost. You will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength. Fire We're showing stories told. Watch the fire burn away the cold. I am rising from the dust. Despite how much we lost, you will not take away my strength. You will not take away my strength.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this might be the curtain call because this is the final game of the group stage of Division 2 of the NLC. And you know what? We've had the ups, we've had the down. We pretty much confirmed top 4 and confirmed who's going to be the 6th team in the playoffs. So, unfortunately for Chaos, this game means nothing. Fortunately for Rich Gang, this game also means nothing because they logged in the first place.
So it has absolutely no bearing. It's just two teams playing against each other and being like, hey guys, how about we have some fun? How about we play Zed versus Zed and blind pick and such things? Because they know this has no meaning at all. But the draft started. We're going to be watching it and going into it right now with the transition, the beautiful transition come from the Northern League of Legends Championship. And the Tristana band is going to be on the plate. So I'm glad we're not going to be seeing that in this for fun game, or I hope it's going to be a for fun game.
I mean, it could be a for fun game. I mean, if you're on the side of especially Chaos, you know, you're kind of annoyed at what happened in the game prior because, you know, if 42 Gaming definitely had what it takes to maybe contest top 2 or like at least contest first place, because if they got the win, they'd also be at 9. And then, you know, Rich Gang is like, we might as well win. But now nothing is completely at hand. And Chaos, after having all their hopes into being, you know, we're the fanboys for 42 Gaming. You know, 42 Gaming let them down. So.
I mean,
It is what
you
it
can
is.
see it. You can see it from Theodore's smile. Like while he was interviewing, that smile was just cracking up. He's like, "We know we messed up with one of the teams, and it's definitely going to be that team." So I call him as Tristana Baz, Ivan Bands. Nothing too like suspicious. Maybe they.
No one is gonna have fun.
No one is gonna have fun. No one is gonna have fun unless if they decide to go for Corky first pick. Please don't go Corky first pick. Just have some fun. So have some humor. Go Teemo. Go Zed. Let's enjoy this.
Teemo.
You boring guy.
No, Lucian is actually fun. No, Lucian is actually fun to watch.
What do you mean fun? He's one of the Exodia. He goes with Corky and Tristana and
Lucian. Look. Here's what I will say. Tristana and Corky are much less entertaining to play. Who would you rather watch as well? Like somebody who's slingshotting 24 times, 30 dashes, one-shot cullings, or would you rather watch Tristana just press the same 2 buttons every single time? Just jump in, press E. Or even better, the lane combo, E auto, and you win the trade.
Oh, I love Tristana Corky matchup. Just Tristana jumping in with W and Corky using Valkyrie to get out. I love that so much. But what I also love is the Maokai pick because we're gonna see a boring game. We're not gonna see a Lee Sin or Zed or anything like that. It's just
there we go.
Oh, thank you. Just as I said that, they also locked in the Zillia, which is never normally locked in from any player or team because he's just a really useless champion. Unless if you want to go Hecarim and go like, for example, Maokai top lane and Hecarim, then that could be a vroom funny game.
I mean, there's also the very crazy possibility of just taking that Zillia mid lane. I mean, you know, it's known in the EU. So some players like to bring some crazy stuff, and Gwen Blind can look like crazy. It is crazy, but yeah, it is one of the things that Typical likes to play. So we're just sticking to that. You know, we're just having fun. We're chilling out theme, and now Rich Gang has one more pick to go for. And yeah, I feel like it's always the mid laners that don't have any fun, but everybody else is just basically whipping out their comfort now.
Exactly, especially the top laners, if they want to play rage top lanes, they can do that if they want, but they decide to also go for the Nautilus pick against the Zillion. The Malphite is hovered from their side, the Zed is also hovered, which is something that I want to look for. It's fun, but at the same time, let's talk a bit about Gwen. Gwen could be played between jungle and top lane, but it's mostly dependent on the summoner spells that is coming from Slice, because Slice wins the Ghost Smite, which is usually done when you want to play the Gwen in the first place in the jungle. So that could be something that we could be looking out for. The Lucian could also be flexed between mid lane and ADC, so nothing is too clear from the side of RG. Unless if it's the Nautilus, because we know Nautilus is not doing B. You're not gonna put it in the mid lane and just play Nautilus full road. It's gonna be support. It's Nautilus support. Is it Zillion mid lane? Is it Zillion support? I have no idea.
Yeah, and that's what makes it somewhat fun, is that Zillion does have options. Of course, Zillion Ash was a very notorious lane, like in the earlier season. You talk season 3, season 4, that was, the time where Zillion still had, I think, his bomb as a point and click ability, but they still have the same possibilities. They just toss a bomb, you toss a volley, and you insta-win the trade no matter what. And they're trying to make sure that Lucian comes down to the bot lane by all the other bans that they're throwing. Of course, that is out of the way, so no fun for us. No fun on the Yone. No fun on the Kalista. I'm happy that the Ezreal is gone.
Don't go Malphite.
No, just go AP Malphite. Yeah, go AP Malphite. That's gonna
Maybe
be fun.
I'll AP Malphite. I would love to see Malignus. Yeah, sure. AP Malphite, that could be fun. But just don't go Malphite full AD. If you want to do it, just put Gwen on top lane and just completely cut him down. Like, come on, dude. Yes, thank you, Vayne
You're
again.
saying yes?
No,
Yes.
no, Irvington.
Oh man, look, at least Chaos are trying to go out with a bang. We're gonna pick the team comp that has the picks, that has the Zillion to have the high outplay potential, especially since you're trying to play for the Nautilus, and Nautilus is very aggressive. You want to go for those picks, but Zeri Lucian, that's a very potent duo, a duo that is usually hard to catch, but with the Renekton and Maokai, I'm not the biggest believer. Triple ADC again, twice in one day. Like, please,
not?
guys.
Why not? It's the best role. It's the best champions. Then ADC mains are gonna be like, boo, our role
Just
is
pick
so
Kai'Sa
weak.
though. I want to see Kai'Sa top.
You want to see Kai'Sa top? You're gonna see the Gragas top. That's ridiculous. Oh yes, I love when the okay, Cassandra.
Yeah, Theodore will be proud that he actually won that game.
I don't know. Like, hey guys, we're having fun this game, right? Why are we taking Cassandra Renekton matchup? Come on, guys. It's fun. The last pick is surely going to be something fun, right? It's gonna be something nice against Lucia. Ooh, Akshan. Akshan could be something. I would love if he wins Draven instead of the. No, okay, sure, man.
You want to have
I guess
fun?
we're gonna have.
Yeah.
No. I don't want to have fun anymore. I'm seeing Azir Maokai is just. Let's cast. Let's take it more seriously.
I mean, I'm trying to take it seriously, but honestly, I'm just looking at this, and all I can think of is, you know what? You got the Lucian Zeri, but you also got the counter picks on the other end. The Shurima Shuffle is more than enough to catch the Lucian. It's also more than enough on the other side to catch that Zeri with the Maokai on top of it. So options are plenty. I love the Zillion in this team comp, and I'm kind of excited to see the Zillion because it has been forever since we've actually seen a Zillion being played.
I mean, the main issue would be that Zillion is not able to get as much lane pressure as he would want. Like compared to other enchanters or other marksman supports such as Ash or maybe Xerath or Vilkaz, Zillion does not have that strong laning pressure, so he cannot be able to pressure the lane as much as he wants, and at the same time his roaming is not that good compared to other supports, which is the Nautilus in this case. So it's not an easy task for Zillion to play this game at the same time, but if he gets to that point where he can scale, the Azir and Ashe are going to be completely unstoppable once they arrive into the mid game and late game. But there's a big task. Like, you can't win lane and you can't win roaming. The only thing that you have to do and your main objective is going to be to survive.
I mean, you said you can't win lane. I will agree, but I will say Zillion has usually been the lane neutralizer. Like, when you pick Zillion in a lane, that lane is stale. It's not going to have anybody killing anyone. It's not going to have anybody dying. At least usually. Maybe now, especially with these stuns on the time bomb reset combo, you do have some kill pressure set up there. And that's something that I'm going to be kind of looking forward to. It's like, how can you actually set up those double bombs? Because they can be massive. Like, you think about it, it's basically a better shockwave on a basic ability.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's a fair comparison. A shockwave compared to Zillion double bomb, maybe, yeah. But here's the thing: you get a dredge line, you're probably dead. That's it. You know, like okay, maybe there are slows you can neutralize with the double bomb and such things, but there is a big task on Zillion to be able to position himself correctly and make sure he does not get caught. And his ADC is also aware that not many trades are going to be favorable for them because of the Zillion just simply being there. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about Zillion and Nautilus mainly because there isn't much action on other lanes. Like, okay, we're looking at Cassandra Renekton on top lane. We're looking at Azir Lucian mid lane. And we're also going to be looking at the Rift Knight right now because the game is ready. We're going into the game and we're going to be seeing who is going to be the winner of this series that, or not series, or match that is completely not going to affect either of the teams.
Yeah, nothing is going to affect either of the two teams, but let's hope they go out with a bang. At least that is my wish for this one. Chaos and Rich Gang. And there's only going to be one Rich Victor out of that one. And Kurosh, well, I hope he's going to have some fun. But yeah, I mean, personally, I would just wish that we had a time machine so I can skip the first 10 minutes because, as he said, you know, outside of bot lane, I think it's going to be pretty uneventful.
It is going to be uneventful. Renekton Cassante, nothing is going to happen on top lane. Renekton can just get the prio. He can trade early, sure, yada yada. Nothing is going to happen. Just crocodile stuff. Jungle matchup, Gwen just wants to full clear. In comparison, Maokai can also look to full clear, or he maybe can look for a gank potential if they look for good trades onto bot lane. Lucian, for example, is going to be maybe the only one who's guaranteed a win in his lane because of the fact that he's playing against a fleet walk Azir, and at the same time, he also has Absorb Life and PTA. So anything that Lucian does with his E and Q, it's not going to be traded from the side of Corbax as much as he would want because Lucian is just way too strong on the mid lane. He can look to land the Qs, or he can just look to use his E to just proc the PTA.
Yeah, that is something that, you know what, I look, maybe I'm gonna sound crazy and this is gonna be a very hot take, but I would have actually rather they remove PTA instead of Lethal Tempo.
Okay, so you want to see more Jinx? You want to see that meta? You want to see Dredge Line coming from Konski on certified?
I mean, it has, but like, yeah, Konski is on the lost trade at the end, and yeah, Grasp Zillion is doing some heavy lifting in this thing.
Oh no, I forgot about it. He's just gonna go warm with armor Zillion. He's never gonna die from the hooks. Oh, that's disgusting. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gonna be this. I mean, the lady's pretty much disgusting already. Level 1 star, the bombs are gonna rain down Mirai, and it's not gonna be an easy one for them, despite having the fleet footwork. I don't know if the sustain is gonna be enough when the cogs come your way, but in the same vein, mid lane, Kurosh is doing good work, but he's still getting poked down by the Azir. And remember, like, Azir, you know, while against some of the control mages, doesn't actually have the range to maybe fend off a Victor, but against the Lucian, he should have a very easy time and just keep whittling away at him, especially with the fleet footwork as well.
Especially with fleet work, and I'm assuming that he also has Absorb Life, unless if he has mana issues, so he can go Presence of Mind, but that depends on what he wants and how he wants. So far, nothing is gonna happen too much in terms of mid lane. Yes, Lucian was able to get the recall, a Cheetah recall just to get the cold, and that's going to put him on an item advantage over the Azir, and he didn't even need to use the TP to get back into lane. So now Azir doesn't have enough mana to crash this wave, so he needs the Maokai to help him to crash this wave, and Slice is going to be able to recognize that as well if he wants to hover the mid lane, and Kurosh is trying his best to thin out the wave so he does not, or Azir does not have the chance to crash this wave. At the same time, Taxfix is going to be all around the bot side, maybe looking for something, especially since Mirai is going to be a bit low HP against Azir.
Yeah, well, against Zillion, I'm pretty sure not a whole lot gonna happen, especially there as we see Taxfix just confirming his recall, making sure that they're not gonna be traded onwards. But what a dredge line there from Konsuke. They found the angle and certified. No speed ups and no stuns either, and thankfully, no kills for the side of Chaos. And Mirai is just gonna zap him away, and Snither does not have the attack. One final hit would have been enough. The minions are gonna finish the job, but it's still gonna be a double for this area.
That is a lovely 2v2 coming from the side of Mirai and Kamsky, and they were able to get the double kill on the Zeri, and at the same time, they have a really good wave on the bot lane, so they're not gonna lose much because it's a frozen wave into a double kill, and it was Sneller that was able to get the kill in comparison to Certified, who wasn't able to get any kills at all. Sure, he has a pickaxe, but that Berserker Greaves is going to give him a lot of mobility into the Ashe and Zillion, so that game might be, or the lane might be a bit harder for Certified and Sneller to play against those two.
Well, it's still be a bit difficult. No songs on Snitter. Certified has both barrier and flash, so definitely was shocked by the fact that Mirai decided to flash an auto at his own. And well, oh, I feel like the Ashe still has the pressure with the barrier as well. You can definitely force a lot of these sprays, but it's gonna be very difficult to land the double bombs on Mirai unless you got him slowed down. In the same vein, like, I'm looking at top side, I'm looking at mid, and Chaos pretty much has priority in all three. And I'm just looking forward to what can they do with it. The Dragon is spawning. Grubs are already almost there. So there is a chance for them to get the objectives, but Taxvig, he has been a bit slower in the clear just by the mere nature of the matchup against the Gwen. But usually he was around at the better timing. This time around is the worst timing possible for Chaos because the Dredge line is again gonna connect. And I'm sorry, that one was bogus. No way that actually landed onto Certified.
It did connect, and it was in front of our screens. It was not high ground and low ground, and Taxvig is going to be on the mid lane trying to secure that kill onto Lucian, but he uses the flash to make sure that he can get the kill. Taxvig is just going to be a big tree trying to get rid of the Lucian of the Cowboy. He's going to have W soon up, and he's going to get rid of Karash, but that solo kill was beautiful from his side to make sure that the 1-for-1 win for his side.
Pretty sure Toxic just had a paid Asian moment there. And speaking of being paid, you know, like now this is just being paid a beating there in the top side. Typical. It is typical that Cassandra have great matchups. I'm typical of them to find a solo kill on the top side. And unlike the last time, no Olaf to manhandle you. It's just a good old crocodile, but they're not angry enough for that Cassandra.
And that counter pick is so far not working out for I don't know how to pronounce that name, but for the Renekton. And it's not going to work out against the Cassante because Typical was able to just secure the kill so easily. Now this is going to be out behind, and the Dredge line is going to come, and that Certified and Snella are not going to have their sound, so Certified is going to be the victim here. Vision control from the side of RG on the bot side, and they're abusing the fact that they don't have some so well to make sure that Mirai is getting as much lead as possible on the bot.
Yeah, and that's the main problem with the Zillion. You don't really have the tools to peel. You need to either land the stun in the double bomb or to slow someone from the get-go so much that they can't actually really play the lane. Neither of which happened. That's why exactly we're seeing Certified kind of struggling here on the Ashe, but still some chances left for both sides. Of course, for Red Gang, they're pretty much far ahead. Typical already at the point in the game where he can easily play around with that Renekton. In the same time, Mirai, 3-1 with a Retrix and a pickaxe, and that's a triple tonic. I haven't seen triple tonic in a while. I thought that he would have boost, but he actually had triple tonic. Look, I'm all in for triple tonic just for one reason. 80 carries usually are kind of slower at leveling, and that potion of, I don't know, is it called potion of force? I think it is. The one that gives you the adaptive power.
Hey, it gives level. It just gives level to your abilities. It doesn't.
No,
like,
not that one. That's the level 9 one. I'm talking about the current one, the level 6 one.
Okay. We're gonna talk about the Nature's Grasp, but it's not gonna land on anyone. The calling is coming completely whipping. So it's just whipping from both the sides of mid lane and jungle. Typical is also going to whip his W. So Nijos, or Crocodile, is gonna be able to get some kind of trade, but the one person who's not gonna be whiffing is the Nautilus, because if he did, that would be a big shame on the Nautilus. So he was able to land his red line, and they were able to secure a kill on Sniller. 4 kills on Mirai is not something to be messed around, and Slice knows this, so he goes for an invade on blue, and Taxspec is just looking at that blue while it's being stolen in front of his eyes.
Yeah, poor Certified, really unable to play any League of Legends so far. At least Kerbax is able to have some say in the lane, but he has to find the kill here, has to look for the shuffle, the combo, all messed up. And the Azir is definitely a single soldier for backup, and that's gonna be an easy kill for Slice. He slices and scissors his way to that kill, and with the last nip, gonna be a lead in the mid lane, and it looks like they're gonna actually lead it with a shove. I was expecting some plates, but they decided to recall.
Goodbye, Azir. Goodbye, Corvax, and a lot of advantages is going into the pockets of RG. 2K gold lead is not something to be messed around with, especially on 10 minutes mark. Yes, it's only 2K. It's not that big of a deal. But static shift ending from the side of Zeri means that Ashe and Zillion have absolutely no agency into that Zeri. Look at the gold difference. It's like 1,500 gold for both ADCs. That's the amount of gap that Mirai has on certified. So that just shows that RG deserves to be on this spot because they're just completely demolishing the bot side of Chaos, and that just shows that they are really good in terms of bot side gameplay.
Yeah, Mirai already with the static shift, so pretty sure it's not gonna be a fun game for the rest of Chaos from here on out because, you know, usually when we think about Zeri, we think, okay, once Zeri gets to 2 items, that's when she really takes off. Zeri's already at a 1 item lead. The only other person that has their item completed is just the Malcolm. Just think about how far ahead the Zeri is.
How far ahead the Zeri is, typical, going for all out, he's lighting in, trying to look for that solo kill, but Crocodile has his Fury, so nothing is gonna happen. Just simply press that R, and just as much as Certified is pressing that R, along with the Nature's Grasp is coming in from Maokai to make sure that he can secure the kill on Kasuke, but Tax Spec is gonna be very low HP, he's gonna be able to secure that kill. The ulti that is coming in from Sniller is gonna make him a bit more healthy, but that healthiness is gonna be completely turned down from Slice because of the amount of damage that he has.
Yeah, at the same time, the one-on-one in bot lane is getting kind of intense because Mirai does have the shove, does have the fleet footwork, but does not have the barrier. So Certified has some chance of turning that one around, but so far he's the one who's actually getting the short end of this stick, and Mirai can definitely deliver the final blow. He's so pleased. Meanwhile, on the top side, it's also Rich Gang that are getting all the leads. They get the grub, trying to look for an angle on the bot side. Mirai has to flash away, but a turret is enough, and that's a massive shutdown on the Certified.
That is a massive shutdown. The potential outplay was coming in from Mirai, but he overestimated himself, and he was punished for it by Certified and Sneller. Now Kasuke is going to be in a bit of a pickle because he does not have the flash in comparison to Taxfake and Corvax, who do. One of them has flash, but the other does not, but he was able to use the dredge line to get out, and that will just be the secure of the Drake, unless if RG has another thing in mind, especially since Slice is on the Rapture. So if they want to test the Drake, they have to be fast about it, but they said not to, and now maybe they look for a fight, but instead they're just gonna be like, hey, they have to recall, we're just gonna push off mid lane and maybe get some plates and maybe get the Raptures on the left side.
Maybe look for that because I feel like that's the easier of the 2 options, especially like with the fact that you got the shove on one side, you got the Lucian who also got the shove on the other side. So I feel like it totally makes sense to try to expand your lead here with a Mountain Soul as well. Things are gonna be much better off for you in terms of the armor and MR that are gonna pay so much more dividends. If you're able to get those as Rich Gang, K'Sante does not only get tankier, he gets more damage. So, you know, that's something to look forward to. Just as much as we were looking forward to that one shot coming in from Rich Gang. Certified had no life, had no chance. Maybe Tactic has something, but I don't think that they have the damage necessary to get either of those 2 kills. The TP is going to completely dissuade that and maybe even turn it on his head, as Kurosh is going to have an easy time taking down a tree. First time, it was robbed back, it was robbed down, and this time again, Kurosh will shoot down that.
Oh, what a nightmare for Chaos and what a nightmare for Snella because of the amount of damage that Mirai has. And Kasuke is just completely tanked, but the Crystal Arrow is coming in from the Ashe. Certified is going to be able to secure that kill. The TP coming in from the Azir. The Calling is going to be able to secure the kill on Snella. Corvax is trying to look for something. He has the flash, he has the ulti, but he's not going to find the commitment onto Lucian. He knows that he doesn't have the flash, but he's way too far to commit onto the Lucian. And Slice is just going to be slicing away at that turret at the mid lane.
Beautiful play there on Snither, just weaving his way around the turret, completely nullifying any single Q. from that Zeri. Of course, that's one of the Zeri's weaknesses. Remember, that Q is a skill shot. It will stop at turrets. It's the same way that you would actually want to counterplay something like the Graves. It's the same way you play around this area. That was beautiful from Snither, but unfortunately for Chaos, the gold lead is still pretty massive. Still 5,000 gold, and it can even be added on to further with that Herald if they get it. And already the rotation coming in, Mirai is by that side, and I'm pretty sure that with Mirai having the cleanse and the ultimate, it's going to be a very tough fight for Chaos to go.
It is going to be a very tough fight. Now, Sniller is throwing his bombs to make sure that he gets some stuns, gets some vision on Konsuke, and Typical is not able to fight at all around topside because he's way too far behind in terms of HP. And now, Mirai is going to use his lead to go into the mid lane, and Lucian is going to be creating that numbers as fast by covering the mid lane. They are way too late. Chaos on this rift, so they have no plans on contesting this, especially with the fact that Cassante is low HP without a TP. But now, RG Gaming, our Rich Gang, are trying to look for that collapse on the front.
Yeah, the gang is rich in numbers, but can they be rich in the kills without paying anything back? It looks like the answer will be a yes, because Typical doesn't go down, Mirai doesn't go down, and Splice is just there saying, I am immune, and I'm gonna clear the wave in the mid lane, and maybe even cause some good damage behind it. And despite that stun, I do doubt that a 2 and 3 certified with just a static chip is gonna have enough damage to find a solo.
A lot of damage coming from his side, but that damage is not going to be enough to get rid of either certified or Sniller, because they still have their ultis, they still have their barriers, and that's going to be a fact. So because of that, Slice is just going to be simply taken out the wave, but Sniller might be looking onto the Lucian, who has no flash, and Korvac still has the flash, still has the ulti, and then Nature's Grasp is going to be on the bottom.
Yeah, but he dodged the Kurosh, however, is still gonna die. Anywho, that's a shutdown on the Azir. Splice coming in, finding the snip and the snip. The ultimate is forced down, and that should be one dead Zillion right there. Splice is gonna guarantee that Typical is still alive, and with his red line missing, I think that there are gonna be no more engaged for the time being. Mirai is close by, but they're not just electing to go for the kill for the time being. But as you can tell, timer says 50 seconds on the mountain, and they just want to wait, get their numbers through, get their items, because Lucian is already on 2. Zeri on 2.5, and this is where you want to take a 45 instead of these extended skirmishes.
Extended skirmishes are not going to be in favor of Rich Gangs, but Chaos needs to try and look for those cross maps and overloads as much as possible, because they cannot look for any team fights, especially against that team comp. Because Lucian has 2 items now, and Zeri has 2 items and a half, just like you said. And Gwen is almost on her way to getting the Leandris or Riftmaker. So this game is going to be much harder to navigate if you decide to go for the team fights or if you decide to go for the combating of the objectives, which is not in your favor at all. So as much as you would like to fight on these objectives, you do not have those capabilities. So your other choice is trying to overload on one of the side lanes, which is Renekton on this side. But the problem is they're very late on that collapse, and they're very late on that cross map. They haven't thought about it, but Renekton is thinking about that dive, and Typical is going to be dashing out a lot of damage. The Renekton has to flash out and get out from the grasp of that Cassante. He still has the flash, he still has the E, but the TP's coming in top lane.
Yeah, Typical does not have the Pathmaker. This is going to be rid of all the way. Kerback has been collecting a few shutdowns, would not mind one more kill. It looks like that will be the case with the Cassante. Tanky as they might be, will not escape the torment of the Leandri and the Wrath of the Emperor.
The Wrath of the Emperor is going to secure that kill onto the Cassante. That was a good try to go for the 1v1, but that wasn't enough at all. But our Rich Gangs are going to be able to get the second turret onto bot lane and maybe look for the Renekton, especially when he does not have that ulti and he does not have that flash. So maybe Lucian tries to look for something. He does have some damage, but certainly not enough damage to one-shot him, especially with the amount of HP that Renekton has. So he's just going to opt into, hey, I'm going to tickle you a bit, and then I'm going to go out and look for an enchanted crystal that is going to miss. That was very close, but Korvax is trying to look for the chase on Kurash.
Yeah, definitely have the angle here for the shuffle, but not electing to use that just yet, saying, hey, the Renekton is close enough, but now Kurash is bossing distance. Good calling, good damage, but the kill will be confirmed, but at a price of 1 back. Snitter is going to find that one, but Korvax going there is a travesty.
What a travesty for Chaos. That is a complete disaster from their side, especially since Certified was just caught into the mid lane, and Rich Gangs are going to be able to secure that turret in mid lane, and they also have the other charge for the Rift Herald to secure that turret, and maybe they want to go for this inhibitor, even though it's a bit early, maybe 30 seconds until those minions spawn. But why did the Rift Herald just deal no damage? Riot? Hello?
Look, it is like that sometimes. So sometimes you just heal them with the ability.
They healed them with abilities. Okay, great. I loved Rift Herald. I love Riot Games. I love this company. It's such a fun game that doesn't have a lot of bugs. It doesn't have Cassante, so I'm really happy about this game. But
Hey, look,
at
you
least-
know, we have one thing though. We have over 200 years.
Yes, lovely 200 years. Hey, listen, at least Zeri has 3 items, so now the
Yeah.
game is gonna be much harder for Chaos. But hey, maybe Azir has something in his pocket. Maybe he will just pull out a flash and ulti and just look for that 5-man. But maybe it's also a dream distant away, because Renekton and Maokai are gonna be bot side, and maybe Karash is gonna be in danger as well.
Kurosh should be in danger here. However, his Screaming Nature is grasped, and this time the culling will be cut
Oh.
short. Flash is used in commitment, but he still finds the damage. Not enough though, because the resurrection is in. Nitrous is just gonna walk straight back out in the same time. Rich Gang, you know, I feel like they're really taking this one as a script. Like, they really are trying to play clean, trying to keep their distance, and the 4-1 working out pretty well. No steals from the Ash Tower this time, so unfortunate for Certified. It looks like it will be a certified win. 2 dragons, a Baron, 3 grubs. Yeah, like Rich Gang are in the prime position to close this one out.
Every single time they try to go for that illusion for Korosh, it just backfires on them so hard, and it happened again onto that bot side. They tried to overload bot lane to catch the illusion, but because of the fact that he has merc threats and he has all that mobility, and he was able to recharge his E so many times without the Nabori, that made his team be able to get the Baron so easily. But again, Chaos is trying to overload the bot side of the map. They try to kill that Lucian, but on the same time, the other side of the map, they're just strong siding that Zeri, they're strong siding that Cassante, because they know Cassante has so much tankiness, and he's gonna be that threat at the front line. Maybe even Cassante has more damage than Lucian, but there's a collapse on bot lane, and maybe Kurosh is gonna be in the
Yeah, this time for sure. This time for
He's not
sure.
gonna get
yes.
so much.
Yeah, like that's already enough to get out of jail free cards for Kurosh. However, they are locked in right there on the side of Rich Gang. They cleared out 1 inhib, looking for the next angle. A team fight is definitely on the cards. Right, looking for the damage. The Nature's Cross will catch all 3 members. However, the Zeri is gonna rain down the damage. And twice, and the big stun doesn't matter because the cleanse is there. And Mirai is gonna do all the damage to clean out the team fight, and it's gonna make it so easy for Slice to get the double.
Hey, Cassante is here, so he's gonna CC your entire team and knock out 2 people to make sure that they can get that inhibitor and get a lot of kills. Sure, there are some shutdowns going to the side of Chaos, and Slice is gonna be in a bit of a pickle because of the amount of slows that Sniller has, but because Gwen is immune, that slowness is not going to be there on the map, and Azir is not going to be able either to get that shutdown onto the Gwen. But what is going to Rich Gang be able to do is get those 2 inhibitors onto top lane and mid lane, and also get those camps to make Slice one of the highest CS players on this game.
You know what? It's definitely always gonna end up that way. Just thinking about the way that, you know, you farm and something like the Gwen. Just so easy to skip through the lanes because you got the Majais, you know, you got your Rift Maker and even Nashers. So it's so easy to play around these angles. And then additionally, like the Gwen, when there are no objectives, she functions as a perfectly functional split pusher. So it's easy to get the CS. Of course, it's easy to get the CS advantage as well when you're Mirai because you're so far ahead in the lane. Nobody's here to contest you on CS. And speaking of the devil, he almost got the catch there. The Hex Flash is not gonna find the angle and Kerback either. But this should be a good prop. 1 last inhibitor, 6 super minions per like wave spawning from the blue nexus. That should be enough.
Final siege, or could be the final siege coming from the side of Rich Gangs onto the bot side. Now Chaos have to pull the trigger, have to look for that Azir shuffle, have to look for that Nature Scraps, which is going to land only on Kosuke. or cascade, which is not going to be enough for them to look for a potential engage. And typical is going to be on the flank position to make sure that no one is able to come into the mid lane wave unless if they try to collapse of the Cassante. But that collapse of the Cassante is not the smartest idea for you, so they're just going to try and cover bot lane turret as much as possible. And if Rich Gangs make one mistake, maybe they can capitalize on it.
Oh, I'm so tired of saying that Cassandra has bully everyone, but that is the state of the game. A great stun combo. Finally, we're gonna see a shutdown on the Gwen. Never mind. They got their buy. She does all the damage, and even if you respawn back, the Wise Mystical Tree is gonna be cut down, and that's gonna be the silver bullet delivered to Chaos. And sure, even Typical is not even gonna die to that one. The shovel, not dig deep enough. The shove does not send you far enough into the Nexus. And Rich Gang are gonna end up their season on double digit points.
Congratulations to Rich Gangs. 10-4 is not, it's very impressive. It's nice. It's a nice score. And winning that way is also a nice thing. It showed that other teams in the playoffs have to be scared of this team. Sure, they're playing against Chaos, who have absolutely nothing to lose, but still, the way that Rich Gangs were able to capitalize on every single sum spell that was down from the side of the enemy team on bot side, that is something to have to keep in mind when you're facing this team.
Yeah, so you know what? I feel like talking too much about the game is just gonna be at the surface. It was a game for fun. They played it pretty well. They just look ready for playoffs on the side of Rich Gang. Unfortunately for Chaos, logged in for 7th. It is kind of unlucky that the way that the game between 42 and 4th wall ended for them. But you know what? We got the one interview to end them all, and that'll be right after the break. So stay tuned.
What I carry on my shoulders, showing stories told. Watch the
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. As you can tell, the gang is rich, and we actually got one of the players from the rich gang, Roy, who's had a stellar performance on the series. So, first of all, not congratulations, not only on your win, but on securing first place in the regular season.
Thank you. It was a nice game.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you said, it was a nice game for you, and the only one real place that we can start is, I know you just didn't think too much of the game. So how did you feel about your own play, like your own personal play, coming into playoffs now with that clean game on the Zeri?
I mean, the first few minutes we played really well on everyone, and then started a bit to like make some autopilot plays, which is not good, but I think it was fine. Like there's some mistakes you can easily repair. Let's say it this way. But I'm happy. Like the team is getting better and better with communication and everything. So yeah.
And that's great to see, and especially with the form that we saw from this game. Like, sure, it was a fun game, and not many things were gonna happen from the outcome of this game. But I wanted to ask you more about what's going to happen after this game, rather than the game itself, because you guys were dominating completely. The question is, how do you see yourself as an ADC in comparison to the other ADCs in the playoffs?
That's a good question. I think, like in my humble opinion, that I'm probably the best AD carry in the split. But I think that's like an AD carry thing. Like every AD carry thinks that of him, I guess. Otherwise, you shouldn't play that role. You have to be confident. But yeah, that's what I think at least. And I think we can win every playoffs against every team. We just have to practice in like for playoffs.
Oh no, absolutely, and that confidence is part of what makes you such a great team and how you secured the first place in the first place and NLC second division. But another question is, what makes you so distinct from the other ADCs? As you said yourself that you're the best ADC in comparison.
To be honest, I think it's hard work. Like I play a lot of solo queue. I watch a lot of VODs. I try to become better every day, and I'm very hard on myself. Sometimes I'm very hard on my teammates, but that's just a way of like showing them, okay, I know that you guys can do better. Like we can do better as a team, and that's why I'm trying to like, sometimes be serious more than other people maybe, or more, maybe sometimes you can take it as I don't know, toxic or something. But I'm not trying to like make someone down or something. But I'm just trying to make us win as a team and become the best we can be.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said it yourself. You think you are the best. You think that you can be the best, but the actual like projected best for everyone was supposed to be unique. Their game is being played off stream, and well, they fumbled the ball in the regular season. Do you think that they will actually do the same in playoffs? Like, especially coming in from the perspective of a team that is in the first place, has done so well and been so consistent. Do you think that consistency matters more than the ceiling? Because I think some people would look at 42, for example, and say, well, they have a very high ceiling, but they're very susceptible to making mistakes like they've done today. Same thing can be said for Unique. They have some very experienced players, but sometimes they do have that bit of over aggression that we were talking about. They think that your consistency as a team is going to be the driving factor in your best of wins, or do you think it's just going to be pure hand def and skill mechanics?
I think Unique is a more of control team compared to 42. I think 42 is based on taking fights and just trying to like get advantage from taking random fights. At least in my view, as I see these both teams. But yeah, I think 42 improved a lot during the split. Apparently, like they were losing the first few games and now they were winning. But after the day, I'm not sure. Like I think they just lack macro gaming as a team, which is like thing that a lot of teams lack, as like B2, like our team too. But I think we are able to fix them way easier than other teams.
Okay, love the confidence, and well, thank you so much, Mariah, and hopefully we'll see you in the playoffs very soon.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mariah. And with that, I think that concludes our broadcast for the Division 2 group stage. And that pretty much closes the entire deal. We've seen how it is. We've seen how the teams stack. And just for a final reminder, before we do head into playoffs, first place is going to be Rich Gang. Second place now is going to be Unique if they win their game that is not streamed. Or it will be 42 if Unique also loses their game. At the same time, third, as I said, it's one of these two teams is going to be second, one of these two teams is going to be third. Fourth is going to be Garden, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they locked that one in. Lazy in Life, even if they win, they cannot get fourth place. And sixth place, that's been confirmed to be fourth wall. Chaos is seventh, then Ruse at the bottom of the bracket at the eighth. So the six teams that we've talked about at the beginning are going to be the ones heading the playoffs, and hopefully we'll see even better of them than we have seen in the first few weeks here. 7 weeks of competition. They've pretty much been sometimes impressive and sometimes, like questionable to say the least. But like when playoffs comes around, I feel like Yuki, especially as a blue player, can confirm that like everybody straddles in and everybody brings their A game.
Oh no, absolutely. Like you have to like there's a lot of mental endurance that has to come into these players, especially some of the young players that are trying to come up into the NLC Division 1 or go into other areas, and that is something to you have to look out for. But otherwise, like other than playoffs, other than the gameplay that just happened, whether it's a game the first game or second game or third game, I am very happy. This is my second English cast and I'm happy that it's with you, Volt, and I'm glad to be here on the NLC second division cast. It has been a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Well, man, I've been here for like some of the most iconic Div 2 runs, and now we have the one that I feel like is the most one in question. Like, who's gonna win this is definitely up for grabs. But for that, you're gonna have to stay tuned. The playoffs are gonna be coming up very soon, so make sure to keep up with the NLC schedules, the NLC socials. They'll be announcing all the dates in there. And that's it for me and Yuki. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great weekend. See you soon.